What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host. It is definitely Monday, January 10th. There is no chance this thing was going to start before on Sunday night because we had pure insanity in Las Vegas. Joining me to break it down, John Breach. Coming soon, Ryan Wilson. If you're watching on the YouTube show, smash that like button. People, settle down. We're not doing falling asleep. We're amped up. This regular season is over, Breach, and it ended with the best game of the year in the absolute perfect way, with a complete roller coaster ride of emotions in Las Vegas, with the Chargers falling out of the playoffs with a crazy. Oh, look at that. That's right, repping the Bay Area there with you can see it on YouTube. Breach is repping the Raiders and the Bengals. That playoff matchup he's got over his shoulder. What's up, buddy?
I'm already prepared for it. Brinson's still 6 days away. I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to talk today because I was left speechless by that game. I mean, that was just when you thought it couldn't get more bonkers. It went sideways and upside down. Up was left. Right was yellow. I didn't know what to think about anything. My God, what an ending to the entire regular season. I mean, if that didn't, the NFL absolutely has to feel justified now. You know what? Let's add another week. You know what? Let's move the Raiders and Chargers, even though a tie. Who knew the tie would add even more suspense to this entire thing? Oh my God, what a week 18.
So all the talk leading up to the Raiders and Chargers game. And by the way, the Raiders won in overtime 35-32. We will get into the controversy with Brandon Staley calling a timeout with 38 seconds left and 6 seconds remaining on the play clock. I'm curious if you are in the YouTube chat, and I think there's a bunch of y'all in there. Heck yeah. Smash the like button, first of all. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that. We'll be live for these things after playoff games, and we'll try to build. Yeah, look, don't blame us for being prompt. We would like to have started earlier, believe me, and believe Breach too. I'm curious what people think about Staley's decision to call the timeout, because it is the controversial topic on Twitter right now. I mean, I think that's kind of the thing you have to get into right off the bat. I don't know, but I kind of want to wait for Wilson to get here so we can have a full discussion. Your thoughts on that, Breach, on when we talk about this? He said not really. Oh, you know what? We'll dive into the playoff picture first. How about that?
You're the host, Brinson. You run around in circles sometimes, and I just follow you.
Here's what I'll do. I will follow the rundown as it's written by Debo.
I think Debo would prefer that.
Yes, he probably would. If we get to 250 likes. So, in other words, we're going to get to the ending of Raiders-Chargers, but we want Wilson in here to do it. So, Breach and I are going to break down the playoff picture and sort of set up the matchups. We'll also do later, I think we'll do the early odds look ahead too. So, hang around, and we will discuss anything and everything from the week 18 of the 2021 NFL season. If you have a question about anything that happened today, or about the podcast, for instance, how does Debo deal with you, Benson? I don't know. Same way my wife does. Just close your eyes and pray nothing crashes. We'll answer that. The AFC playoff picture. Oh, look at those tidy little matchups for the wild card round. 6 games, 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, 1 more on Monday. I refuse to call it Super Wild Card Weekend. Drives me nuts. The Titans secured the number 1 seed in the AFC, so they'll have a bye. The Chiefs are the 2 seed and will be hosting the Steelers, who got in because the Raiders and Chargers did not tie. The Raiders, had they tied, the Raiders would have going to Kansas City. And that, to me, that's motivation enough. No offense, Breach. Why, if you're the Raiders, you would prefer to go to Cincinnati over Kansas City. The Bills secure the 3 seed, and as a result, get to host the number 6 seed Patriots on Saturday night. Scorcher game. I mean,
well, you mentioned the Steelers real quick. So mention this if the Patriots had beaten the Dolphins, they would be playing the Bengals, and
that's right.
You have to think they would have preferred to play Cincinnati over Buffalo. So it is. Keep going. Loss did hurt them as far as the seeding goes.
Oh, sure. You'd much rather be I mean, I appreciate.
You don't have to say no offense. If I'm the Patriots, I'd much rather play the Bengals than the Bills.
And I don't want to tweet about the Raiders preferring to play the Bengals to the Chiefs and have Joe Burrow light up the Raiders. And it's just, you would just rather play the Bengals than the Chiefs. I mean, it's pretty simple. The Raiders are the 5, or the Bengals are the 4 seed. They're hosting the 5 seed Raiders. And then, as we mentioned, the 6 seed Patriots, 7 seed Steelers. So as we point out, just sort of setting the tone here for the matchups. So our Saturday games, the Saturday afternoon game, the Bengals special is at 4:30 p.m. That Pats and Bills game is coming later that night, and then Eagles Bucks is the 1 p.m. game. Tom Brady revenge game, as somebody noted in the chat. Tom Brady doesn't have very many revenge games, but that's one of them. That's the afternoon game, I believe, on Fox. CBS and Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus will be streaming 49ers at Cowboys. I don't know how we got that, a classic NFC matchup, but we'll take it. And then Sunday night, Steelers at Chiefs. Monday Night Football for the first time ever in the wild card round. Cardinals at the Rams. So spicy matchups on the NFC side. What a year for you, Breach. Matt LaFleur gets the bye, and the Bengals go to the playoffs. Pretty good for you. The Packers, of course, are your number 1 seed. The Bucks 2, Cowboys 3, Rams 4, Cardinals 5, 49ers 6, Eagles 7. All of the drama that was building up throughout the course of the day. I mean, I don't love the idea of a week 18, but man, did the NFL get what it wanted with this week 18 breach.
I mean, absolutely. This could not have gone any better. And you know what? So let me just say that starting off, if people were watching all day, it kind of got off to I don't want to say boring, but it was one of those like, is anything really going to happen today? Because Jacksonville was up like 10-3 on the Colts, and it really felt like the Colts were going to win. So whatever. But once Jacksonville went up like 23-3, and it was pretty clear the Colts weren't going to win, it was like, oh my God, that a Colts loss opens the door for utter chaos. That is
correct.
What happened. And once that went down, you didn't know how the rest of the day was going to break. You don't know how the Ravens and Steelers all of a sudden, that is a huge regular season game because the winner is still alive. That game goes to overtime. Then you get to the late games, and the 49ers are down 17-0 to a team that has never blown a halftime lead under Sean McVay. I mean, it just got crazier and crazier and crazier, and then ended with even more crazy in that Charger. Yeah, Week 18 delivered more Week 18s. We need more Week 18s.
I mean, sometimes you get Week 17s that are like that. The twist for this one was that the Colts losing opened the door for the Steelers and the Ravens. But then it looked like the Steelers and the Ravens were going to tie, and that was going to open the door back up for the Colts. And then it looked like the Raiders and the Chargers were going to tie, and that opened the door. That was going to slam the door in the Steelers, and all that chaos. And while that's all going on, there were 2 division matchups. I mean, I know the Bills ended up blowing out the Jets, but it was close. It was a 3-point game at one point there, and the Patriots had gotten it back to, I think, a 3-point lead against the Dolphins. Maybe at that point the Bills had kind of pulled away, but it looked like the AFC was up for grabs for a hot minute, despite the Jets being a terrible football team. And then, of course, the NFC West was just a wild roller coaster of emotions, with the Cardinals scoring early, Seahawks immediately answer, and you have all that back and forth. As you point out, the Rams had that huge lead and then cough it up. The 49ers looked like they thought their playoff hopes were dead in the water because the Saints were easily winning, and the Rams were playing for the division because the Cardinals were right there with the Seahawks. It's just a wild, afternoon of football. So we're going to get Ryan Wilson first. I thought that was going to be the Ryan Wilson coming in, but that's okay. By the way, if you're listening on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. They added the rating system. We appreciate it. Again, if you're on YouTube, smash the like button. We have a pretty decent number of likes here, but if we get to, I'm told 250, we will give away another Brinson Sucks hat.
Brinson, we already gave one away just while people were waiting in the chat. I wanted to give one away. People were waiting. I wanted to give one away, but we'll give another one away tonight. And it looks like we're on pace to hit that 250 for sure, but smash that like button right now.
Cool. Great job, Devo. Thanks for keeping the angry
the mob at bay.
Mob at bay. I know. I was like, you log in. I mean, just behind the curtain, like you log into this little StreamYard thing and you pop up, you hit comments, and all of a sudden it's just like, where the bleep is Brinson? Get this going. Is Brinson asleep? What's Breach doing? Changing diapers?
Happens.
Wilson might be a little bit, if that's okay with you guys. We want to go and get started. But as you can see, the 2022 NFL draft order for the lottery teams is now set. We know most of those. Jacksonville secures the number 1 seed, Detroit 2, Houston 3, Jets 4, Giants 5, Carolina 6. I mean, if you were telling the tale of this season, those are quite fairly the worst football teams in the league. And, you know, I mean, I think Houston and Detroit tried really hard. The Jacksonville situation, fun win today. Mostly a miserable season with Urban Meyer, but I think anyway, we'll get into all that. I don't really get why people were talking throughout the day about, the Lions, they're going to blow the first overall pick. It's like, I mean, who cares? Like Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, 6 or half dozen,
Right. This is not a Trevor Lawrence draft or like somebody where there's a consensus number 1 pick that you're losing out on. And if that had been the case, I think people will be talking a little bit more about it. No, you want to beat the Green Bay Packers if you're the Lions, and the Colts want to beat the Jags want to beat the Colts. They've got to defend their hometown of Jacksonville, where they always beat the Colts. So I'm actually glad both those teams won, and I don't think either one. I don't think the Lions are going to go regret not losing. So, So I think it played out. It made for a fascinating week 18, having that hanging over the head since both of those teams were winning for most of the day. And that added another layer to the craziness.
It sure did. I keep staring at the Panthers draft pick, and I want them to take my boy Icky from NC State, the offensive lineman. I'm sure they'll find a way to screw that up as well.
They will.
Yes. They got to get a rock star of an OC. That was the report early in the day. So draft order set. We know that. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to dive into the recap of week 18. It does sound like Ryan Wilson may be a little bit longer. So quick break, right back. Week 18 recap. Raiders 35, Chargers 32 in overtime, as we mentioned. I mean, I don't know. All right, let's just dive into the controversy, because that's what everybody's talking about. Like, that's all I can think about. And I'm watching like my Twitter, I tweeted out a picture of it. My Twitter, my mentions are blowing up. So we all knew going into the game that a tie between the Raiders and the Chargers would result in both teams going to the playoffs if the Colts had lost to the Jaguars. They did. The Steelers won. Steelers fans are freaking out. The Steelers are probably freaking out because they're thinking, oh my God, like these guys could take knees. There was no way, Breach, that the NFL was going to let the Raiders and the Chargers take knees on national television for the 272nd game of the season, the longest season ever, in Vegas in prime time, and not, like there would have been. I would bet any amount of money that there were calls made that said, look, that would be tantamount to collusion. You may not do it. If you do it, we will fine you to oblivion. You will forfeit your playoff games, and we will take your draft picks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone ever actually thought they were going to kneel it the whole entire game, but it was more of, and this was kind of when I wrote a story last week about how the scenario might play out. And, it said, yeah, it could happen. It probably won't, because it's just NFL doesn't do that. But you eventually get to a situation where if the teams are still tied late, then it pops in your mind. And you think, well, if we just run it up the middle 3 times here in overtime, now that we're tied 32-32, then we can just tie and get to the playoffs. So I thought it was fascinating. It got to overtime, and that is when you started thinking about, are these guys going to play for a tie? And then, of course, they didn't, and they played the most exciting game of the 2021 season.
Okay, so the big controversy surrounding this game is Brandon Staley calling a timeout in overtime with 38 seconds left and 6 seconds left on the play clock. The Raiders were, I would say technically, because it was a dome and Daniel Carlson's been a very good kicker, within field goal range. It would have been a 57-yard field goal. The Raiders were lined up in shotgun. I think Mitchell Schwartz tweeted a picture I sent out, and he took it the wrong way somehow, but said that he was like, oh, that's clearly not a pass set. I'm like, well, yeah, I know. I didn't think nobody thought the Raiders were passing on 3rd and 4, but the Raiders were going to run on 3rd and 4. All right, so anyway, I don't want to make Brandon Staley calls a timeout. Al and Chris are like, I don't know. And the Raiders run the football with Josh Jacobs. They pick up 10 yards. They have a 47-yard field goal attempt to win the game and to change their seeding from 7 when they go to Kansas City to 5 where they go to Cincinnati. It's a risk-free field goal unless you get it blocked box. I mean, it's not risk-free, but it's the percentage are really low that field goal is going to end up costing you the game and a shot at the playoffs. The upside is you can go from 7 to 5, which to me is a pretty massive difference. People are very mad that Brandon Staley called the timeout because they thought that the Raiders were going to take knees at some point. What did you think about Brandon Staley's decision to call the timeout, and what did you think the Raiders were planning to do in that spot?
Well, I thought the Raiders were planning to run, and whether that was before or after the timeout, I thought they were going to run no matter what. And I think when Staley called the timeout, my initial thought was that he was doing it so that the Raiders couldn't run the clock down to 2 seconds. Say the Raiders run a play there, right? While the clock's running, they gain 2 yards, and now it's 4th and 2. And well, if you're the Raiders, you know what you do there? You would run the clock down to 2 seconds, call a timeout, and try a 55-yard field goal. And so I think what Staley, and in my head, this is what I thought at the time, was that Staley didn't want them to be able to try a field goal with 2 seconds left because the clock expires. If you're the Raiders and you have to try a 55-yard field goal with 30 seconds left, that's a huge difference than with 2 seconds left, because if you miss a 55-yarder, the Chargers get the ball with 25 seconds and a timeout, and all they have to do is get about 20 yards to get in field goal range. So I thought he was doing that to try and force a field goal with time left on the clock. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it all depends on what you think the Raiders were doing. And there's a lot of videos out there about where Austin Eckler is talking to Max Crosby, and he makes a face that looks like Max Crosby just told him either the the ending of Usual Suspects and he'd never seen it, or like The Sixth Sense or something, or 2 that he's like, yeah, we're gonna knee out. He's like, oh really? Okay, so I didn't think the Raiders were gonna kneel out.
They were not taking a knee.
I mean, you don't take a knee from shotgun.
Yeah,
like Derek Carr wasn't gonna run back, take a knee, because then Brandon Staley's definitely calling a timeout. If you take a knee, or if you take a delay of game and move it back 5 yards, and in fact, the Chargers could say, no, we don't want the run off of the clock. We're calling timeout. And the Raiders were running a play. They had a guy in motion. Renfro got set. They were about to run a play, and they were going to obviously run the ball. And in my opinion, they were going to see what they got yardage wise on that run. If they were inside of, I would guess 53. So in other words, you get the first down, you're inside of 53. You have a decision. You can, look, you get the first down, you're inside of 53 yards. You can either kick the field goal, you can call one of your 2 timeouts, and then you can run the ball again and set up a longer field goal. I do not subscribe to the notion that the Raiders were going to run the ball and then just do nothing after they ran it on 3rd down. If they got enough yards to get within a reasonable field goal range, they were attempting that field goal. You know how I know that? Because that's what they did. Like, they ran the ball out of the timeout anyway. They just got under center and ran the ball. Josh Jacobs picks up 10 yards and they kicked the field goal. I don't believe that it changed their mindset, or if it did change their mindset, I think their mindset going into that 3rd down was incorrect.
Well, and also I'm reading it right now. It's like Staley's from Daniel Popper. Staley said that he called the timeout so he could get the right personnel on the field, which obviously makes sense also, because if you give up a first down there, the game, the Raiders are going to have a field goal attempt. It's exactly what happened. He wanted to make sure what happened didn't happen, but then it happened anyway.
The Chargers timeout blew up in his face. They've been able to all year and didn't stop Josh Jacobs when they had 2 guys kind of near him to tackle him. If they tackle him for a loss on that play on 3rd down, and Brandon Staley elects not to call timeout, maybe the Raiders let it run. I don't know. It depends on where the ball was. I think you're right. They did not want to kick a 57-yard field goal. Certainly not with time on the clock, because then that sets up the Chargers to pretty easily get within range to get another a field goal attempt. Sorry, I was turning on the audio to try to hear Derek Carr talk. But he said after the game, he was like, yeah, it changed our mindset completely. I just don't understand how it could have if you had a good plan in place. Like if you were going to take knees, you should have been taking knee. You had an opportunity to do that and see what Brandon Staley does before third down. Like you take a knee on third down and all of a sudden it's the Chargers ball. They're going to call timeout and make you punt it to them. So I have a hard time really understanding why people think the Raiders were just going to let the clock run out. And maybe they were, but if they were, that was a poorly thought out plan.
Right, because they wouldn't have been able to, because the chart. I mean, it is interesting how it played out. Brinson, it was classic game theory, if you will. your whole entire.
I mean, I guess I'm saying like some people are like, oh, the Raiders were just going to take a delay a game and take a knee. Well, if Brandon Staley was going to use a timeout on 3rd and 4, he was definitely going to use a timeout on 1st and whatever. Debo, you've
Brinson, can we hear from Brandon Staley?
I would love to hear from Brandon Staley. Let's hear from Brandon Staley.
Brandon, you took a timeout there with 38 seconds left before the 3rd and 4. Why did you take a timeout there?
Yeah, we needed to get into the right grouping. We felt like they were going to run the ball, so we wanted to get our best 11 personnel run defense in, make that substitution so that we could, get a play where we would deepen the field goal.
Derek Carr said after the game that timeout changed their mentality. Do you think that had any reason to do with them?
I don't think it changed their mindset because they were going to run the ball on the play before, and then they ran the ball the very next play. So we wanted to make sure that we got our run defense in there, and we obviously didn't execute well enough, but we wanted to get our premium one-back run defense in here, and that's what we did.
Was any part of the motivation for you saving time to potentially win it if they were to miss that field goal?
My mindset was to make the field goal as long as possible.
See, again, I have a hard time believing, and I think Rich Bisaccia just came up as well. And he basically said, like, we were planning to run the ball and then kick the field goal. They called timeout, and we thought the same thing. So I just don't believe that the Raiders had been playing this game to win the entire time. They were like, nah, F it. We had the ball. We're not going to kick this potential game-winning field goal to knock one of our arch rivals out of the playoffs and give us a better seeding position. I don't believe that. But
yeah, I mean, Staley was on the field, saw what their formation was, and was thinking, hey, the Raiders are going to run it. I want to put better personnel out there. And it seemed like the Raiders were going to run it no matter what. And they were going to kick a field goal on 4th down, unless maybe they lost a yard or two on that 3rd down play. Then they probably don't attempt it. And so you make the field goal as long as possible, and you do it with the most time left on the clock. That's why you use your timeout. So if he misses from whatever yardage, then the Chargers have time to run a play. But obviously it didn't work out like that because the Raiders got the 1st down on their 3rd down play. So you know what? I thought the weirdest call of the game was his 4th and 1 from his own 18-yard line. The timeout was not even.
Well, the weirdest thing was the play call on that play. Like, why are you? I mean, the Chargers did not have a great game plan. And I think it's safe to say that what is happening in Los Angeles, and it feels very familiar if you've followed the Chargers at all, believe me, I have, that Justin Herbert probably hamstrung on Sunday night by his coaching staff, by his wide receivers, and by the offensive line, big time on Sunday Night Football.
Hey, Brinson, want to hear from Rich?
Even better, Rich Bisaccia,
yes,
the Raiders coach.
I got some great
apparently admitted that they were considering a tie.
At the end of the game, all the playoff machinations. Right. If you tie, was there any consideration to just running down the clock there and not even attempting a field goal?
Yeah, it was conversation we were talking about. I don't know if you know, we ran the ball there, and they didn't call a timeout. So I think they were probably thinking the same thing, And then we had the big run through there. And when we got the big run and got us, we thought was advantageous field goal position for us, we were going to take the field goal and try to win it. But we were certainly talking about it on the sideline. We wanted to see if they were going to call a timeout or not on that run. They didn't, so we thought they were thinking the same thing. And then we popped the run in there and gave us a chance to kick the field goal to win it. So we're certainly talking about it.
Okay, but that's different than what people are saying on Twitter. Are you eating? Just mute yourself and I'll rant for a second. That is different than what people are saying on Twitter. People are suggesting that Bisaccia was going to run the clock out at the end. I think what he is saying is that they were not. So the big run that they popped, I think he means it was a pass. Which big run is he talking about? Anyway, maybe he's talking about the big run from Josh Jacobs at the end. I don't think the Raiders knew what they were doing. And I don't mean that in a pejorative or critical manner. I'm saying that I think that the Raiders were kind of creating a plan on the fly and trying to figure out, what do we do? What are the Chargers trying to do here? We don't want to we cannot lose this game. Chargers, same thing.
When he's talking about popping the big run, he's got to be talking about the Josh Jacobs run on that 3rd and 4 that put the Raiders in field goal range. And so maybe he's alluding to the fact that if, say, the Raiders get 0 yards there, right? And that happened at 38 seconds and 5 seconds run off. So now you're down to 33 seconds and the Chargers call a timeout. So now the Raiders have 4th and 4 from the Chargers 39-yard line with
the chat is asking, hashtag what's breach eating.
So if it's 4th and 4 for the Raiders from the Chargers 39-yard line, what do you think the Raiders do with 33 seconds left?
Wait, sorry, give me the scenario again. I can't stop thinking about what you're eating. It's definitely day old Chick-fil-A.
No, Chick-fil-A's gone. Long gone, man. That game was forever. So the whole explanation there, he talked about the long run, the 10-yard run, where
so you're saying on the 3rd and 4,
he's basically saying we decided to go for the field goal after the long run. So if they had not gotten the long run, if they had gotten 0 yards, it would have been 4th and 4 from the Chargers 39-yard line with 33 seconds left. Do you attempt the field goal or do you punt it?
If Brandon Staley calls timeout after you run on 3rd and 4 and you get 0 yards in this hypothetical and there's 33 seconds left, I don't think you can attempt that field goal.
You punt
because if you attempt and you miss from 57, which is, I don't know.
So that's what I think he means by playing for the tie. He's like, I think he means we're going to run it there. And if it failed, then we just play for the tie. And if it doesn't fail, then we'll try for the field goal. He never mentioned kneeling it, or he specifically said that if he meant that.
I do not think that he was ever planning to run out the clock. I think he wanted to see what happened on 3rd down. And if they got the 1st down, they were going to try the field goal because they were in field goal range, and maybe he didn't even mean the big run. Maybe he meant the pass from Derek Carr, no. Maybe he means the 70-yard run from Josh Jacobs that got him to midfield. It's 2nd and 3rd. Like I say, at that point, they attempted to pass for -5 yards. I mean, they were passing the ball.
Right. That's why it feels like they were trying to win. They were doing everything they could to win that game.
Yes. The 3rd guy, for those asking in the YouTube chat, smash the like button. We'll give away a Brinson Sucks hat. 3rd guy is on his way. I mean, I do think that, look, I get that Brandon Staley's under fire. You call the timeout in the spot and you're being questioned by, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth in game 272 that has gone. I think the ratings for this game are going to be bananas because this game went off the rails in the 4th quarter. The Chargers had a crazy 15-point comeback. When the Raiders kicked a field goal to go up 12 points to 15 points, Steelers fans were like, oh, come on, man. Like, you couldn't just stay up 12 and let us get in one way or the other. The Chargers finally opened up their offense. Justin Herbert was slinging seeds out there. I mean, he threw the ball, I think, 64 times, 383 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. I mean, and a bunch of balls dropped.
Well, that's the thing. But the Chargers loss overshadows the fact that Herbert threw a touchdown pass on 4th and 21, and then on the game-tying drive, converted 4 4th and 10s.
4?
Was it 3 or 4? It was a ton.
It was a ton. It was a 19-play, somehow 2 minutes, 6 seconds drive. 3 4th and 10s. They go 83 yards, and it ends with I believe wasn't the touchdown on 4th and 10?
In a 4th and 21 with a 23-yard touchdown pass. Like, are you kidding me? And so all of that is just out the door and overshadowed because, they're just playing these crazy games. Crazy games.
Play crazy games, win crazy prizes, Breach. Look, the bottom line, I saw this from Greg Rosenthal on Twitter, a friend of the program, Greg Rosenthal, friend in real life, Greg Rosenthal. 26 carries, 132 yards for Josh Jacobs and a touchdown. They simply could not stop the run. The Chargers couldn't. That is how their season is gone. They have not been a good team against the run. And Joe Lombardi, everything about their season was condensed into this game. You had the Chargers dinking and dunking and not being aggressive down the field, despite having great vertical receivers and having an incredible vertical throwing quarterback. Dinking and dunking. They're not stopping the run. They're making some pretty crazy decisions on fourth downs. Brandon Staley, as you point out, went for it on 4th and 1. There's just a lot of things that the Chargers did to set themselves up for failure. It feels familiar if you've been a Chargers fan or have followed the Chargers in any shape or form over the last 10 to 20 years. And at the end of the day, it cost them a playoff berth.
And you know what's crazy about that 4th and 1 that they failed? That was their only 4th down failure in the game. They went 6 of 7. And the only one was the big one because it was in their own territory, and it basically gave the Raiders 3 free points, and the Raiders won by 3 points. So
the Raiders, credit to the Raiders defensive line too. They manhandled the Chargers offensive line. Like Storm, is it Storm Norton? Storm Norton?
That sounds right.
Storm is going to have nightmares about Max Crosby for the next. I mean, chip this guy already, man. I mean, Justin Herbert was under pressure all night long. He was running for his life. I firmly believe that the Chargers, if they want, first of all, you have 2 years of Justin Herbert, no playoffs. The way he's played, very disappointing given the benefits of having a guy like that on his rookie deal. You're eligible to extend him after next year. If you don't make the playoffs, it's a massive failure. And to the offensive play calling and the offensive design that Joe Lombardi's working with here is just not functional enough for Justin Herbert's skill set. So maybe the Chargers don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Man, 9-8, disappointing season. Raiders 10-7, incredible season. They had their head coach resigned in the middle of a Monday Night Football game, like a quarter of the way through the season. And then their number one wide receiver killed someone in a car crash on like a week and a half later. And the team won a couple games, looked like they were toast, and somehow rallied to make the playoffs as the number 5 seed in the AFC. I mean, if you told somebody this like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, they would have called you crazy that the Colts would miss the playoffs and the Raiders would make it. Anything else from this game, Breach?
I think we hit on all the keys. We could literally do an entire podcast on just this game. But you know what? The Chargers, they dug their own grave here. They lost to the Houston Texans. They lost this game. You win one of those two, you're in the playoffs. You can't lose to the Houston Texans.
Keep smashing the like button in the chat. Is Breach, is Blaine Kohler your burner? Because he says he's high as F, tripping bees, and is predicting a Bengals Packers Super Bowl. What's a Binger?
I'm feeling the Bengals Packers Super Bowl.
A Binger. Yeah, I guess that's actually a Binger Super Bowl. Yeah.
Rodgers and Joe Burrow. It's just I'm willing that into existence with Blaine.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
It's 2 votes. It's happening.
Bangers. Okay. Let's go to the next game. I'm sure when Wilson gets on here in 2.5 hours, he'll want to talk about Raiders Chargers again.
He'll want to talk about.
Don't let him. Don't. I'm telling you now. Don't let him.
We got to keep this thing on pace, Brinson. It's past 1 a.m. It is way past your bedtime.
I mean, we started the podcast at 12:45. It's insane.
So the game went till 11:30.
No, I'm just saying Wilson's going to try to bring that up. You got to.
Game went later than that, right?
It went late. I was talking about 11:30 Central Time.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say, I was like, I don't think we sat around for an hour and a half. Anyway, Jaguars 26, Colts 11. The Colts have not won in Jacksonville since the year 2014. Unbelievable. I mean, they have been dominant on the road leading into this game. 4-0, 31 points per game, holding opponents to 12.3 points, 10 takeaways, and averaging 37 minutes time of possession against Jacksonville. 11 points, gave up 26 to the lowly Jaguars, no takeaways, 26 minutes time of possession. Colts fans, I don't agree with this at all. I saw a little bit of it in the chat. Colts fans are calling for Frank Reich's head over this loss. I mean, which loss is worse, Breach? Colts or Chargers?
The Colts by a mile. All you had to do was beat Jacksonville as a 16-point favorite, and you're in the playoffs. You had to beat the worst team in the NFL. I mean, this loss was hands down worse, and it wasn't even close. This might have been the worst finale loss in NFL history. That's how ugly this was. And you look at what happened. This was all season, I feel like, we've been talking about Carson Wentz a lot because of the Eagles connection and Debo and me, and we were on the Wentz bandwagon at the beginning of the year. But the whole entire season, we would say, once the Colts get the playoffs, what happens if someone stops Jonathan Taylor and Carson Wentz has to win a game? Well, it happened 1 week before the playoffs. What happens if the worst team in the NFL slows down Jonathan Taylor? Can Carson Wentz throw on the worst team in the NFL? The answer is no, he cannot. He threw for under 200 yards. He was the reason they lost. Their defense probably shouldn't.
Carson Wentz is not good.
You can't lay that kind of egg in. And what's funny is after they lost last week, he was like, well, missing a week of practice didn't really hurt. And it was just like, man, you can't miss a week of practice this late in the season. And, they had a chance. They're just like the Chargers, where they lost that 23-20 game to the Raiders, and they come and still have a great chance to get in the playoffs. All they do is win, and they just fall flat on their face.
Look, the Jaguars had Ryan Wilson's not here, but the Jaguars had no business coming into this game and playing well. I mean, they could have rolled over and been like, all right, Indy, come to town, do what you got to do, run Taylor down our throats and get out of here. Taylor had 15 carries for 77 yards. Really good effort by the Jaguars in terms of their defensive performance. And it's long at 23. I know people, people don't like to do that, right? But you take that out, right? And it's 54 divided by 14, 3.9 yards per carry. That's excellent work by the Jaguars defense. They loaded up the box and said, look, you want to go to the playoffs? Playoffs? You had to do it with Carson Wentz. And it wasn't going to happen. Wentz I thought he had 2 interceptions, but one of them hit the ground. And he also had playoffs.
Playoffs?
No business.
Wilson, we're in the playoffs.
You made the playoffs, Wilson.
And we matched.
Despite John Breach's best passive-aggressive efforts to will it into existence.
Are you kidding me? I wanted the Steelers in the playoffs.
Say that. You don't.
You missed our Raiders Chargers chat. Do you have? I know Debo told me not to do this, but do you have anything you want to add to that conversation? What did you think about Brandon Staley's decision to call timeout?
Well, he said that he was trying to get the defense set up. I mean, do you not believe him?
No, I'm fine with the timeout.
Yeah, here's the thing, and I was realizing that's the reason I'm late, because I was, we were doing the highlight for HQ, and if you don't look at Twitter, there are very few controversies in your life about things that you see or hear on television. If you do look at Twitter, everything's conspiracy theory. I mean, we'd all talked ourselves into a tie being the thing that has to have happened.
And then it almost happened.
It almost happened, but no one said it in the way that it happened. Everyone said, just take a knee. And I thought that would be fun if that happened, the take a knee thing. But, just because we talk about it doesn't mean that it's going to be willed into reality. I do understand Bisaccia is saying, I mean, in retrospect, I would imagine that Staley isn't calling timeout because Bisaccia said, yeah, we would have just settled for the tie, essentially. So I don't have any issue with that. The bigger issue, of course, is going forward on 4th down at your L 18 or whatever that was. It only led to 3 points, so that's good. But, at the end of the day, the Raiders have been playing better football over the last month of the season. The Chargers. Here's how my final.
C-Rad in the house.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. My final thing on this is that the Chargers and the Steelers finished the same amount of wins. And if you look at those rosters, that is inexcusable.
Yep. I agree with that completely. All right. We were talking about Colts and Jaguars and just said that if, Carson Wentz can't, I actually just said, if Carson Wentz can't go down there and take care of business, can't beat the Jaguars, you know what he has in terms of going to the playoffs? No business.
No business.
Yeah.
Did you talk about the fun fact where he had never thrown a road interception this season?
Yeah, it was weird. First one ever.
We did not talk about it.
No, we did not.
He would have broken an NFL record as the first QB to start 8 road games and not throw an interception.
Yeah,
bring that up, Wilson.
He played not great.
And also, I will throw this fun fact out. In their past 34 games, Jacksonville is 3-2 against the Colts and 2-27 against everyone else.
Amazing.
Jacksonville literally has more wins in their past 34 games against the Colts than every other NFL team combined.
I know we'll talk about this in the offseason, but you can give me a short answer. Are you looking for a quarterback if one comes across your screen?
The Colts?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. God, yes.
You just burned through the first round pick 4 weeks ago.
I'm sniffing around. Maybe I keep Carson Wentz, but I am definitely sniffing around.
He did.
Oh my God, they have two. Wait, they have 3 more years left on his deal. Oh, I guess 2. Well, just really 1 more year left on his deal. Then no, yeah. I'm probably playing him in 2022.
Well, no, I understand the calculus on the contract, but I'm talking about winning football games. Look at it this way: what if that team didn't have Jonathan Taylor? What if they had a replacement level back? That team wins 6 games.
Yeah, terrible team. I mean, that team with Phillip Rivers.
Oh boy.
No, team with Phillip Rivers in the playoffs.
I can't even push back on that. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, they're just in the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Playoffs. Anyway, yeah, we'll have time to talk about Carson Wentz in the offseason. I mean, if you're the Chargers, you feel awful about missing the playoffs, but you went into that situation knowing that you had to win on Sunday night to get into postseason. And
let me ask you this. I know Debo said not to go back, but just generally speaking, would you rather have a coach that's dyed in the wool in his convictions about analytics and when he's going to go for it, or you want to have a wishy-washy guy who goes for it when it feels good and then he gets scared and punts on times? Like,
I want somebody who has a game plan.
Yeah, don't do wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Well, that's my point. So that's why whenever Brandon, I love that people get angry about it, but I mean, he's not just making it up. He has a sense for what he wants to do. It ended up only costing him 3 points. I know that's just anecdotal, but I think
they lost by 3, Ryan.
I think you take away from that. That's not why they lost. I'm nuts.
I'm just saying, you said it only cost them 3 points. Seems pretty pivotal.
All right. Anyway, Jaguars, Colts. Jaguars stuffed the run, forced Carson Wentz to win. He couldn't. The Colts gagged it up. They had no business going to the playoffs, and they're not going to the playoffs. And frankly, I think that's how it should have played out. If you can't go to Jacksonville and win for the first time since 2014, you shouldn't be in the playoffs. You shouldn't be in the tournament. A team that did make it to the tournament, surprisingly, they needed some crazy parlay to happen. Oh, and we couldn't get Steelers at Bengals, but the Steelers beat the Ravens 16-13. TJ Watt sack, tying Michael Strahan's single season sack record in this game. More importantly, it felt like, I mean, I'm trying to recall, were you rooting? You wanted Ben to win, Wilson, and the Steelers not to make the playoffs. So Ben goes out of beating the Browns, beating the Ravens, and voila.
All that had to happen was the Colts had to beat the Jaguars. I mean, that
so you're mad that Ben is now going to be humiliated in front of millions.
He won't be humiliated. I mean, he's had a pretty tough go of it the last year or so. So, I mean, he got humiliated last year in the playoffs against the Browns. If it gets worse than that, then something's gone horribly wrong. It was, I mean, the game, it was raining in Baltimore. The conditions were not great. One of my biggest takeaways was that Tyler Huntley doesn't look that much different than Lamar Jackson, who doesn't have an agent who's looking for $40 million a year. Well, my point is this. Are you paying for Lamar Jackson at $40 million plus a year? Or are you paying for 65 to 70% of Lamar Jackson for $1 million a year? That's my point.
I'm probably paying Lamar Jackson.
Well, I mean, that's something that people should think about that might be, I'm not sure, smarter than you. But in terms of the Steelers, it was fun. I mean, the way they won, it was fun watching TJ Watt. The way they played, they hadn't given up. And I think my biggest takeaway is that, and Brenton, you noted this to me and Breach after the game, Mike Tomlin dancing in the locker room afterwards was sort of funny. But my biggest takeaway is that this team,
AB.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just straight up calling them out. My biggest takeaway is that this team didn't give up when at several points, many points during the season, you felt like they should give up, given how undermanned they were, how terrible they were playing, especially offensively, how their defense couldn't stop anyone on the run. And they ended up winning 9 games, 9-7-1. I wasn't sure that north of 500 was even going to be an option to keep Tomlin's streak alive. And like I just said, they finished with the same number of wins as the Chargers. I think that speaks highly. Mike Tomlin, Coach of the Year.
I was going to say, should he get some Coach of the Year votes? It feels like you will this team to 9-7-1. They don't have anybody, they don't have a super offense. They're kind of a patchwork team, and I don't think anyone thought they were going to make the playoffs this year.
No, correct.
I would not have a problem with Mike Tomlin, Coach of the Year. I think they're
Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor or Mike Vrabel, the 1 seed with no Derrick Henry. Wouldn't have a problem with that either. The Ravens feel like
they're a team crushed by injuries and no Lamar Jackson the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. Sort of similar to the Browns in the sense. Okay.
The Browns, I think that team has a lot more issues than we thought. And I think it starts with QB1.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, the Ravens thing started from Jump Street.
Yeah.
When They lost 3 running backs in the span of 2 weeks to ACL tears.
Oh my God, they lost what's his name out of
They
Ohio-
lost everyone. They had so
J.K.
many players in
Dobbins, they
injured
lost
reserve.
J.K.
Gus
Dobbins.
Edwards.
Marcus Peters tore his ACL. I mean,
Marlon
they lost
Humphrey
Marlon
eventually tore
Humphrey.
his ACL, I think. Ton of guys got hurt.
Yeah, so
The Steelers are like, I don't know how the Steelers are doing anything. Also, look at Tyler Huntley's. I mean, maybe he looked good. I don't know.
no, he looked fine.
Look at the rushing yards for Lamar. I mean, Latavius Murray. Lamar.
Yeah, that's like in the second half, he just kept running up the middle. No one could stop him. No, Tyler Huntley did not look terrible. I'm telling you, if you had a black and white television because you just came here from the 80s or whatever, and you were watching the game, you might think that was Lamar Jackson. Breach, are you paying $40 million for Lamar or $1 million a year for 65% of Lamar?
I mean, I sit down with Lamar and say, hey, look.
He ain't taking 35, just so you know.
No.
Hey, look. Here's what we have. We have this much money in this hand, and we have Tyler Huntley in our other hand. And if you don't agree to this hand, we're going to use this hand. That's what I say.
And then he'll go
What
somewhere.
happens at your house?
You don't want to know. That's how I talk to the kids.
If we don't use this hand, I'm going to
I've
use
got
this hand.
3 grapes in my right hand.
Listen here, lefty. No, the takeaway for me is that the Ravens are fine and just sort of had a bad year.
Absolutely.
And
Just like, I mean, no one's talking
A bad year where they lost 6 in a row to end the season and became the first team ever to start 8-3 and not make the playoffs.
Oh, they lost 6 in a row. Wow.
I don't know if that's a fun fact for Baltimore, but that's
Oh, that's right, because there was a stretch where they kept going for the 2-point conversions 2 out of 3 weeks. They had onside kicks in 3
The
straight.
loss to the Packers, the 1-point loss to the Steelers.
the Titans 20. And so the Steelers will play the Chiefs in super wild card weekend. And
Hello, Super Bowl.
hey, look, weirder things have happened in the NFL.
Nothing weirder would happen if the Steelers went to the Super Bowl this year.
I mean, Nick Foles beating Tom Brady for a Super Bowl is definitely weirder. Like in replacement.
Me and Brinson will get a tattoo of Ryan getting a tattoo if the Steelers win the Super Bowl.
There you go.
There
you go.
Look, I like the idea. I like the idea of Ben. There was somebody who works at ESPN, like a host at ESPN, was like, "We should all band together and root for Ben Roethlisberger." It's like, well, are you an idiot?
No.
Like, it's not going to go well on these
You know who
streets.
You know who was most upset about that game Sunday night, not ending in tie? Big Ben. He's like, dude, I had a tea time next Sunday.
He's like, I got to do the victory parade. My arm's about to fall off.
Now he's got to fly to Kansas City.
All right, Titans, Texans. Debo's ready to move on.
Titans 28, Texans. Oh, you put the box score up. I didn't see that. Texans
For 2
25.
minutes.
Ryan Tannehill, fantastic game in this matchup. 9.0 yards per attempt after just 6.2 in the last time these teams played. Completed 72% of his passes, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Had 1 touchdown and 4 interceptions the last time they played. And the Texans were rolling in this game. Excuse me, the Titans were rolling in this game, and then the Texans made it interesting.
Davis Mills got hot.
Davis Mills is good.
Here's the thing.
Look at those numbers. 23, 33, 301, and 3 touchdowns.
It's the same as Tannehill's, except for the one through touchdown. I think it was either third or fourth quarter where Tannehill was sacked. They were going to have to punt it. It was like a 1-score game. He somehow eluded the sack and threw it downfield for 25, 30 yards, whatever it was. And they went on to score. That was the turning point in the game after things got close because the Texans were playing a lot better in the second half. And I just keep coming back to this. Why are you potentially the rumor, perhaps David Culley's going to lose his job? Why are you firing David Culley? He ain't the problem. And as you mentioned, Davis Mills is, I said this too. If Davis Mills had come out this year and returned to Stanford, he would be the first quarterback taken. He just hadn't played a lot of football at Stanford.
That's probably a good call. He, I mean, my takeaway for the Texans is I'm trading Deshaun Watson with no qualms whatsoever this offseason if I can get 2+ first-round picks for him.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it backfires in your face, but Watson is
he's not playing in Houston anymore. So
he says he didn't want to play for you. He has a litany of injuries. He has off-field trouble, and you know, you have Davis Mills who looks like he's the part. I mean, go in and try and build around him.
As Breach noted last week or the week before, easy because they have nothing to lose. We get on Mac Jones for playing poorly, and he played poorly again today. Davis Mills is just winging it with no repercussions. That said, he still had the same stat line as Ryan Tannehill, and he balled out today.
The Titans secure the number 1 seed, get the bye. That is huge for them. They now have Derrick Henry coming back. He's expected to be active for their playoff game. We don't know who they'll play, of course, because they have a bye. But man,
the Bengals.
Maybe the Bengals.
I would love for the Bengals to come to Nashville, Ryan.
Would you?
You joke.
The Titans are now 8.5 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. They were 16 or 20 to 1 before, I think, this week. Did it really get cut that much?
I mean, they have a bye. It probably
Right.
did. You get a free win.
I can't take them at 8.5 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. It's
Too rich.
too short.
They would have been a very good team to bet on Sunday morning before they played the Texans. Because if you thought they were going to beat the Texans and you were getting 16 to 1 for a team that's automatically going to be in the divisional round, you were getting a steal.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess maybe they. I guess I thought I guess I didn't think their odds would drop that much since they were.
Do you have all the odds in front of you or no?
Yeah, what you want?
Let's go down. What's the Chiefs?
The Chiefs are the Packers are the favorite at 3.5 to 3 plus 380.
Wow.
Well, what happens is they shrink these odds. Oh, look, Devo's got them right there. They shrink these odds once the playoffs happen, where they don't want to get burnt by somebody making a deep run. So I mean, the Titans, are behind two other AFC teams who don't have a bye.
I do not. I was going to say I don't get
475. Bills are 7.5 to 1. Bucks 8 to 1. Titans 8.5 to 1. Rams 9 to 1. Cowboys 12 to 1.
Don't say it like that.
Bengals 18 to 1. Pats
18
20.
to 1.
Cardinals 22. 49ers 25. Raiders 40. Eagles and Steelers 60. Ultimate disrespect to the state.
Me and you, Wilson. Me and you.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my
Joke's
God!
on you.
Eagles Steelers Super Bowl is hell. I'm quitting this podcast if an Eagles Steelers Super Bowl happens.
And you know what happens if it's Eagles Steelers Super Bowl? I will buy an Eagles jersey and wear it just to spite Breach.
Why would that spite me?
I don't know, but you would be angry because the Bengals.
Can you imagine if? Oh my God! What if like the Steelers took out the Bengals in the AFC title game?
I've already had a text thread
That's
with
when
that
I wrote-
conversation. I will. That will spite me. I will quit the podcast.
Unfortunately, that would require the Bengals winning a single playoff game.
Hey-o.
Up high, down hard.
I'm shocked it took an hour into the podcast for that to come up.
So who are you texting with? Your family?
Everyone.
Panic text.
All I know are Bengals fans.
Can you imagine, like, this is the highlight of the season, the highlight of the last few years, and your first notion is to text people that you know that, oh my God, if we lose to the Steelers in 3 weeks, what's going to happen?
If we get the AFC title game, lose the Steelers. I'll never live it down.
You know what, though? I think the Titans, we started this by talking about the Super Bowl odds. I think they're scary. Ryan Tannehill playing well, obviously 4 touchdown passes. He's going to have Derrick Henry back. And they're the third favorite in the AFC, even though they're the 1 seed, and they beat the crap out of the 2 teams above them. I mean, the Titans dominated teams this season. They have inexplicable losses, but
right, that part.
But they're not playing trash teams that they're going to overlook in the playoffs, Ryan.
I think I don't disagree with you. And I think that something else that we're not talking enough about is Dante Foreman. He ain't Derrick Henry, but he's a big bruising back. So even if Derrick Henry isn't 100%, you bring Foreman in there just to wear people down, every other series for a couple snaps. And then you have Derrick Henry. And the only thing that has to happen, the defense is certainly much better than it was last year, is Ryan Tannehill can make stupid turnovers, because that's when they start losing football games. That's how they lost to the Steelers. I mean, you can't have 4 freaking interceptions. If you don't do that, you're good to go.
I think you got to feel pretty good if you're the Titans about getting something from Julio Jones in the passing game. A.J. Brown played well. You're getting Derrick Henry back. The thing for Tennessee is they have to believe that if they get in a situation against Kansas City where they're down 10 points or something, or Buffalo, or whoever, that they don't have to just rely on Derrick Henry. And their defense has played really well. It wasn't very good against Houston in the second half, certainly, but their defense has been very good over the past several weeks. Jeffrey Simmons had a boneheaded play on offense. He came in and didn't report as eligible, and it cost Dante Foreman a touchdown. They eventually scored anyway, so bailed him out. But Simmons has been awesome on the defensive side of the ball. I wish Tennessee was like 15 to 1 or something like that, because then I would.
Well, like Breach told you, you should have done it Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, Brinson.
I didn't think it would move that much, because I mean, they were minus 10.5. Like the movement doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but I think we all felt pretty good about them winning this Texans game. Although
that's what I'm saying, like, why weren't they 8.5 to 1 before?
Maybe take it then and don't wait around and find out. It's my point. And Breach is one to think.
Got to be smarter than the book, Brinson.
Yeah, if I was smarter than the book, I wouldn't be doing this podcast. I'd
be in Barbados.
Fair enough.
Key games in the NFC: the 49ers beat the Rams 27-24 in overtime.
And also,
That means
Crown Wilson, the against the spread winner for CBS Sports, beating Pete Prisco, who was so angry about it.
That's right. Pete Prisco was texting Wilson like, "You change your pick. You change your pick. You're cheating. You're cheating." Pete is such a sore ass loser, and Wilson took him to the woodshed.
Whoa! Oh! What a big jam! Wallace took it in his hands and said, "Up and away, Dipsy-doo, Dunkaroo."
Wilson secured the regular season, although your man, I made a pretty good push.
Willie Bear got hot at the end there.
I got
I will.
hot the last
All three of us finished.
Yeah, Breach, you did too.
Above 500. Wilson, I think.
You're not going to point out that I beat you? Is it you're not going to point out that I beat you? Up high, down hard. By one game.
I mean, the
I
embarrassing
walked you
part
down?
is that you beat me by one game because I picked Andy Dalton to cover against the Vikings. Stupid Andy Dalton.
The best thing is that Andy Dalton played well, and then things went sideways.
Actually, I finished. Me, Jamie, and Locafora finished tied for third. That's a pretty remarkable turnaround for me, considering where I was midway through the season. Very excited about that. Wilson won the regular season. He is 3 games up on Pete and 8 games up on me, JLC, and Jamie. 9 games up on Breach heading into the playoffs. So not likely that anyone other than Pete would catch you, but still possible.
Yeah, but regular season's over. I'm done. I don't make any more picks.
Regular season champ.
Playoffs
is a new game.
Pete called me a baby and said I was begging for free games. No, 3 weeks ago, he's like, "You begging? You're always begging. You want to win? You want the playoffs to count? You're a baby begging." And then today, Wilson was like, "Yeah, it looks like I'm going to win." And Pete was like, "The playoffs count too. The playoffs have to count."
So angry. So I think Debo wants us to talk about the 49ers. I think you're delaying having to talk about Matthew Stafford.
Now, let's start off with the
fact. I got the 49ers 56-1 to win the Super Bowl. I wanted the 49ers to win this game. And I had the Rams to win the NFC West for a bunch of money.
Loyalty to Matthew Stafford.
The Rams won the NFC West.
And the 49ers are on your draft team that you have in our draft pool.
Well, so were the Saints. I was going to get one of them no matter what.
That's sad.
Yeah. 49ers had 14 points in the third quarter. Really impressive. Just basically, making adjustments by Kyle Shanahan.
Well, they no-showed the first 30 minutes. Jimmy G looked horrible.
Awful.
The Rams offense looked spectacular. Higbee had 2 touchdowns in the first half. And then, something happened. And
Debo Samuel happened?
Debo Samuel happened. I mean, is he a better quarterback than Jimmy G?
Debo Samuel is my favorite player in football right now.
Jimmy G played well. He is remarkable. I mean, he can do
awesome.
He can probably kick and punt, too, if you want him to.
Fun fact, he became just the third player in NFL history, third receiver to both throw a touchdown pass and run for a touchdown in the same game.
Yeah, I think gave up -2 yards on 6 plays and 0 points in the third quarter. 14 points, 152 yards, and 21 plays for the 49ers. Defensively, they were swarming Matthew Stafford. Offensively, they looked like they should have looked from Jump Street. They are a dangerous team.
The 49ers.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's right. And, we'll talk about this all next week, but I don't think you feel great if you're the Cowboys, knowing that you have to host this team.
No, not at all. It looks like, and we'll obviously talk about this as well, it looks like it settled in at 3. The Cowboys have it at -4.5. It has dipped down to 3.
Windsor Wilson had it at 6.5. I was surprised it was that low.
I thought it would be higher too.
Yeah.
I think the public is going to smash Dallas.
Right.
And I love San Francisco in this
right. One. I agree with that.
That's
I think the only thing is both those offenses, Dak and Jimmy G, if you don't turn the ball over, you're going to have a chance. What are you
Have you seen the Steelers line? The Steelers Chiefs line?
Let me guess. It's 11.5?
13.
Yeah, I was going to guess 12. It seemed too high. I mean, who you taking?
I don't know yet. I got to think about that one.
We'll get to that in a half hour.
When we get through the NFC games.
Oh, no. Sorry.
That's wishful thinking, Debo.
Anyway.
Golly. It's going to be 2 feet of snow tomorrow driving home, too. I got a lot to do. Let's go.
Yeah, no, everybody's got lots to do. So, the 49ers won. Great comeback effort. Down 17 points. Ended Sean McVay's, I think, 43-0 streak of
45-0.
45-0 streak of leading at halftime. Had never lost a game when he led at halftime, and inspired many tweets and text involving the meme where the Kyle Shanahan family photo. You seen that one?
Mm-mm.
Oh God, it's so good. They I'll send it in Slack right now, but it's basically Sean McVay photoshopped into Sean McVay's head photoshopped onto like Kyle Shanahan's son's body.
No.
It's so
I think, Breach, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that McVay is now 0-6 against Shanahan, or 6 in a row.
He's lost. Yeah, he's lost 6 in a row.
That's not great.
That is not great. Especially not great when you blow a 17-0 lead.
All right, Devo, what's next?
All right, Devo can throw this up while we're talking about the next game, but I'm going to toss it in the Slack. Next up on the docket.
What's after this game?
Saints 30, Falcons 20. This game was on a lot. This game was on a lot because it mattered for the playoffs. Like if the 49ers had lost, then the Saints, once the Saints had secured this win, the 49ers suddenly became like, whoa, the 49ers are
in no matter what.
Well, and that's what it felt. It's funny, Brinson,
were-
what you're saying is because like the 49ers got into halftime, they're losing 17-3. They see the Saints are up 24-6.
Yes.
And it's like, oh crap, if we lose, our season's over. There's no safety net anymore. We're done.
Oh, the Saints win. Sorry, if the Saints had lost.
And the Saints have been losing and also if the 49ers and Rams had tied and it went to overtime, so that was possible. If they had tied, then both the 49ers would have been in and the Rams would have won the division, as Breach had pointed out to us earlier in the week. But you know, the Saints just pretty much dominated. This was a case of outsmarting myself on taking the Falcons against the spread. They are terrible against good teams, and they were terrible against the Saints in a spot where the Saints needed to win.
I don't think they have all season did not have a 1-score loss. I think all their wins are 1-score wins, and all their losses were double digits.
Devo, toss up the picture, the meme of the Kyle Shanahan meme. I love that so much.
That's terrible.
How is that not hilarious? Just little tiny Sean.
You think Sean McVay's laughing at this?
No, I don't think Sean McVay's laughing at that. I think he finds that very unfunny.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Saints took care of the Falcons, but it didn't matter. Sean Payton and Mike Tomlin, for the jobs they've done with these teams who just didn't have a ton of talent.
And worth noting, Trevor Siemian had to come in because Taysom Hill broke his foot. I think Lisfranc, I believe.
Yeah. So he's probably.
I think you're rolling with Trevor Siemian and/or Ian Book in the playoffs, which is
Trevor Siemian threw 9 completions and 2 of them were touchdowns.
We as football fans should be glad it's the 49ers and not the Saints.
Yes.
Right.
The Seahawks helped the Rams out, made life a little bit easier for them by beating the Cardinals 38-30. Russell Wilson in what theoretically could have been his final game for the Seattle Seahawks went 15-26. Oh, that wasn't very good. For 238 and 3 touchdowns. He also ran for a score as well. And then Rashad Penny iced the game with a 62-yard touchdown run. He finished with 23 carries, 190 yards, and a touchdown. I don't know how he caused his average to go up, but over his last 3 games, 65 carries, 495 yards. He's now going to get some massive, like they have to franchise tag him or
no, get out of here.
You can't let him walk. He's a first-round pick who looks awesome.
Wait a second. What's the dollar amount for running backs franchise tag?
Like $9 million. Be nothing.
All right, that's fine. But I mean, if it's
it won't be anything. I don't think they picked up his 5th-year option either. I mean, he was gone this offseason, and then he just lit it up the last 4 games. I mean, you have to bring him back. Find a way to bring him back.
Which is perfect timing for a running back because that's how you land a somewhat, you're not going to get a monstrous deal, but that's how you get paid. And it doesn't matter what you do with your second contract because you already got paid.
Correct. This game started, it was obviously a massive shootout, 68 total points. It started with maybe the first play of the entire game was
second play from scrimmage.
Thank you, Breach. Was Russell Wilson getting sacked by Chandler Jones, and then Zach Allen houses the fumble return. They're up 7-0. Within the 2 minutes of game time, Russ has hit Lockett for a deep ball, and they kept scoring. DK Metcalf. The Seahawks have looked the last 2 weeks like we thought the Seahawks should look.
Maybe Russ.
That gives me a little hope for Russ for coming back.
Oh yeah, I don't think anyone's worried about Russ long term. It's just he came back too quickly.
I mean, coming back to Seattle.
Returning to the Seahawks.
I mean, what's changed? He was this good last year. He's better last year.
But he has a running game now, and when they're actually healthy with some ground help, he looked good.
Ground help, okay.
But Russ is like, I mean, I realize he requested a trade, but he doesn't want to run away from.
Okay. We'll see. I mean, I get it, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did run away.
You got to have somebody who will give a ton of picks to get Russell Wilson.
Those people exist.
Does this game make you feel? How does this game make you feel about the Cardinals in the playoffs?
Well, let me just say that I felt like crap about the Cardinals in the playoffs, and then they go out and beat the Cowboys, and it slightly changed my mind. And they go out and do this with. They could have possibly won they would have won the division title, knowing we know the Rams lost. But to lose this game at home, man, they just
here's the takeaway breach. They're the 5th seed now. They get to travel on the road where they win football games.
They win football games.
Yeah. So, I mean,
but they have to play a divisional opponent. That's rough.
Well, if you're asking me who wins that game, I think this is going to be an ugly game. I think you
Rams
can't
-4.
You can't trust either quarterback, and then it comes down to the coaches. Are you going to take handsome Cliff Kingsbury? Or are you going to take Sean McVay?
Well, as a graduate of Miami of Ohio, I'm obligated to take Sean McVay. Thank you very much.
Oh, so you're pulling for the Steelers too?
Ooh,
Nice.
4.5.
Mike Tomlin didn't go to Miami of Ohio.
So you're going to pick instead of handsome Cliff Kingsbury, you're going to take Kyle Shanahan's tiny son.
Yes.
Oh!
That's not a dunk.
Yeah.
That's actually a compliment to the Shanahan family that their tiny son can coach a team to a playoff win.
To the Super Bowl.
To the Super Bowl.
It's a dunk on Sean McVay.
It's a dunk on life.
I like Sean McVay. Anywho,
Sounds
Do you?
like it.
I don't think
one more NFC game.
Oh, thank God. What is it?
No, before we get to a break. And then we'll blitz through the rest of them and we'll do some picks. We'll look at the early odds. Man, look, the game ended at 12:30, bro.
This is like the Office episode where Michael Scott comes in and said, Meredith didn't make it.
We're actually moving pretty fast, all things considered.
All right, let's go.
The WFTs. And what I said was my best bet of the entire week, maybe of the entire season, my game of the year.
That's because you hate Joe Judge so much.
Correctly hate Joe Judge so much. WFT 22, Giants 7. So the moment that went viral, Joe Judge last week said, this clown show. We're not some clown show organization with fights happening on the sideline. You knew this was coming. Ron Rivera said, I think you just talked about your own team. Joe Judge ran multiple quarterback sneaks out of kneel down formations, victory formations out of his own territory on Sunday, including on 3rd and 9 from, I think, the 4-yard line.
Yes.
And the Fox announcer described it as, quote, sad.
It was
Chris Myers, maybe?
Chris Myers. Well done.
Yeah, Chris Myers and was it Mark Schlereth?
Maybe. But everyone was in agreement that it didn't make any sense.
Like, what are they doing? They line up in a kneel down quarterback sneak formation on 3rd and 9.
It doesn't matter if it's empty set. If it's 3rd and 9 from your own 4-yard line and you got Jake Fromm back there, you're not running a quarterback sneak. You don't do it with Lamar Jackson. You don't do it with Kyler Murray. You certainly do it with
You don't do it with Cam Newton.
So, yeah.
You don't do it with anybody. You try to get the first down. What is this guy? What is this clown show doing?
And the issue is that it certainly sounds like, and this is a point that our buddy Joe Musso was making because he's a Bears fan and said it felt very similar to him, is that the ownership is sort of blinded by, being good people and community and family and all that, and they're willing to give Joe Judge another year. We all know how this is going to turn out. I mean, this team is not winning. Well, they're not going to win. They're going to win 9 games. I mean, I was going to say 500, but that's a tie game. So they're not winning 9 games. There's a better chance they win 3 or 4. Joe Judge probably doesn't make it to Halloween. I mean, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. There's so many holes in this team, and it starts if your team doesn't believe in the coach, it's a wrap. And doing this sort of stuff, I mean, like, what's the explanation? Do we know what he said after the game?
I didn't actually see what he said. Oh, he said, I wasn't comfortable
calling normal plays.
Sorry, I had it up and then I got distracted by something else. Look, a squirrel.
This is it's like dating someone who hates dogs.
Via Zach Blatt on Twitter, he said Joe Judge said he ran those 2 QB sneaks deep in their own territory because he wanted to create space for when they punted it on 4th down.
Does he know you don't have to punt it on 4th down if you get a first down?
Does he know you can throw the ball overhand too to get more yards?
This is all legal. These rules were not just added this year.
Shortly after this thing happened, they, for whatever reason, the broadcast cut to Dave Gettleman in the like wherever he sits in the GM's booth or the
was he typing?
He was turned away from the field on his phone, like not paying any attention whatsoever. And I saw several Giants beat writers point this out too. Jerry Reese was fired in the middle of the season. Jerry Reese is a GM, won 2 Super Bowls. Dave Gettleman was down on the field with all of his family taking pictures in a retirement ceremony before this game. Like, this organization has gone from, they think they're a blue blood organization. They are trash.
They're not great.
They are. I would rather be the Jets than the Giants right now.
No, I agree with that. Robert Saleh, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Judge is humiliating the Giants. Like, I don't want the Giants ever to be good because this is great content, but Joe Judge is humiliating the Giants on a weekly basis. Dave Gettleman has made myriad terrible picks for this organization. Joe Judge claimed Charles Robinson of Yahoo had a great. What's that?
He laid into him after the
laid
game.
into him. Here's the opener. Relentless was a word that Joe Judge used as an anchor in the very first media conference of his New York Giants career. That kind of buzzy coach speak terms that rolls off the tongue well in interviews and can easily be plastered somewhere in the team facility. Ted Lasso has believed Joe Judge has relentless. And then he points out January 9th, 2020.
2 years ago to the day.
2 years to the day. Joe Judge said, we'll play every play like it has a history and a life of its own with a relentless competitive attitude. And then January 9th, 2022, a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 from his own 4-yard line in the second quarter of a game where he was trailing 3-0 with less than 0 on the line. I mean, this guy is worse than Pat Shurmur and Ben McAdoo combined.
Would you rather have Matt Patricia coach his team next year, or would you bring back Joe Judge? I'm just thinking about the Belichick coaching tree. That's why I ask.
At least Matt Patricia didn't go out and lie about, or is it like he said that former Giants were calling him, which is tampering, and that current Giants were begging him for a job, which
I would, if those were my 2 options, I would just have a fan raffle and literally just pick like a season ticket holder's name out of a hat and be like, all right, you're coaching this week, and we'll figure out next week when next week gets here.
All right. That's I feel bad for Giants fans. You have 2 first-round picks, top 10 picks.
But they did get free medium Pepsi a few weeks ago.
Oh, that's right.
Let me ask you this. If the Giants, let's say Dave Gettleman's gone, clearly he's retiring. Joe Judge is still up in the air. We thought he was going to be back. Now it's up in the air.
Why is it up in the air all of a sudden? They said he's going
because of the last 2 weeks.
That's not a surprise to anyone that has even one eye. I mean, come on.
If you're Russell Wilson,
yeah,
and you get Pete Carroll or John Schneider calls you and he's like, hey man, look, we got an offer for
Vito.
Right. I agree.
So I'm asking, would you accept that? Would you tell them, yes, you can trade me to New York, or would you veto?
Well, if he wants to be in a big market, breach his life is a singer.
Yeah. I think he would probably take it.
Why? You are basically saying, all right, Ciara, I will put you in New York City if that's what she wants. I don't even know, but those are the rumors. We'll go to New York City for you, but understand that I have 18 months to live because I'm going to get absolutely destroyed. And I know it was bad in Seattle. Do that times a million because there's no John Schneider, there's no Pete Carroll, there's no TJ Lockett, there's no DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. Who's TJ Lockett? On and on it goes. Tyler Lockett. I got his name wrong.
I think you're thinking of
I think I was trying to say TJ Watt.
No, you were trying to say what's his name? The old Falcons type. No, I don't know what you're trying to say.
But anyway, the point is that this team, go down the checklist. The player that plays the same position is immeasurably worse than what you have in Seattle.
The only reason you would do that trade, I think, if you're Russ Wilson,
for your wife
is ownership. Besides that, ownership, and you're going to have the ability. You trust whatever GM they bring in who makes the trade, and you think you'll have some input into how things operate moving forward.
How often does that work out though? When you give that sort of power to a player?
Yeah, Tom Brady won a Super Bowl. Okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will tell you who won the Brinson Sucks hat. TJ Lockett, Atlanta running back, is what I was thinking about. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
It was not you who won the hat, unfortunately. All right, so the winner of the hat, the Brinson Sucks hat, the second Brinson Sucks hat of the night.
Oh, wow.
Joe Judge. Oh my God, what are you doing in the chat, Joe? What are you doing here? No, I'm just kidding. Tony Bartolucci. Right, congratulations. TJ Duckett is who I was thinking of.
Duckett.
I was like, it's the old Atlanta Falcons, and then I thought tight end. I was like, well, it's not Algie.
He was Algie running back. Yeah.
Yeah, Duckett. Yeah.
2 tiers in a bucket. TJ Duckett.
We're going to give away so many hats that one day everyone in America is going to have a Brenton Sucks hat.
I hope. I mean, if everyone in America has,
You know what that'll mean, Breach? Finally, everyone in America can agree on something. Brenton truly does suck.
Oh, up high, down hard.
Brenton sucking, bringing America together.
Fair enough.
2024.
We are going to rip through some miserable football games. Well, not miserable. There's a lot of this Sunday worked out great because even when there were sort of lulls in the action of games that mattered, there was still drama in a bunch of games that didn't matter. For instance, Vikings 31, Bears 17. Total snoozer for 2.5, 3/4, maybe 2.5 quarters. And then all of a sudden, Kirk Cousins starts throwing bombs. Justin Jefferson finishes with the most receiving yards in NFL history through your first 2 seasons. He's got Odell Beckham by 250 yards at least. Dude's incredible. And when if Adam Thielen's not on the field, play Justin Jefferson in DFS. 34% target share.
By the way, Breach mentioned that he took Andy Dalton to win that game. The thing is, Andy Dalton should have won that game. They were up 2 scores. Andy Dalton scored what appeared to be a rushing touchdown. His knee was just a foot short. They ran the next play. He got sacked for what felt like a 50-yard loss, and after that, the game was over. He took 2 huge sacks early in the game that were momentum shifters. But, yeah, it was only a matter of time. Andy Dalton got out Andy Dalton by Kirk Cousins.
They lost because Matt Nagy refused to run the ball on 4th down. Dalton got sacked 3 times.
They lost because Matt Nagy wouldn't run the ball on 4th down.
Listen to
yes, on 4th and 1. Are you going to give the ball to David?
Take your W with the Bengals.
Are you going to give the ball to Montgomery? Or are you going to let Andy Dalton throw?
Well, if your argument is that they didn't lose because of Andy Dalton, and then you argue that they lost because of Andy Dalton,
I'm saying because of the play calling.
You're propping up Andy Dalton saying it's not Andy Dalton's fault, but then you're saying that Andy Dalton screwed it up.
Let me ask you this.
No, he didn't screw it up. He got sacked. It's not his fault. It's the line's
more
fault. Not
pertinent
protecting him.
Which team will announce first that they're moving on from their head coach?
Ooh, that's good. Good question.
Out of these 2?
Yeah.
The Bears.
Are they both?
I think Nagy's gone. I think
Central time zone, right? Yeah, I think that's a good point, Breach. The Nagy thing is prepared. It's just a simple, okay, what time are we all getting to the facility to send out the press release?
Zimmer had a chance to keep his job or no?
I think the Zimmer thing will be a meetings tomorrow, like a meetings with the ownership. And
he strikes me as someone who's not going to a meeting if he knows how it's going to end.
I think he's like on a plane to Denver to take the Broncos job. Just my
Zimmer?
opinions.
What?
We talked about this. Well, we talked about this like 14 hours ago, Breach.
Yeah, we thought he'd be a good candidate. We didn't say he's on the plane to take a job.
I don't know if I prefer him to Fangio.
George Payton, the GM, is from Minnesota.
Okay.
That's my theory.
But
they worked together for 7 years, we discovered this morning.
All right. All right. So you guys think that Nagy will get fired first?
I think Nagy is just procedural. Zimmer is like a Ziggy Wilf needs to meet with Rick Spielman and meet with meet with Mike Zimmer, and then they figure it out. And good point by Jen Sylvius in the chat. Smash that like button if you're in the chat and haven't hit it already.
Smash, smash, smash.
Smash. Says Zimmer might get to retire. I don't think Zimmer will retire. I think Zimmer wants to keep coaching and would get a DC job immediately if he wanted to take one, and then potentially get another head coaching job. I do think he will be a candidate for another head coaching job this year. People hate Mike Zimmer. I don't know why.
I don't hate him. I think he's a better DC.
Well, I think that some people view him as abrasive.
Yes, he is abrasive.
And they said this before.
I like abrasive people.
Right. And they said this before he got his first coaching job, that he did terribly in interviews because he was the abrasiveness. But as I said about Jim Harbaugh, when he didn't get along with Jed York, you're not running the bank. You're trying to win football games. As long as you're not breaking the law.
You're not hiring a priest.
You're not a salesman.
You're what?
On a football team.
Right. And as long as you're not breaking the law and, whatever, I'm not saying.
I mean, even if he's breaking the law, if he's winning Super Bowls, it's going to cancel it out.
Lions 37, Packers 30.
Uh-huh.
That was a fun game. Here's the most exciting thing about this game for me. Jaguars smoked the Colts. All the Lions had to do was lose and get the first overall pick, which isn't. I understand why Dan Campbell didn't do that, it would have made things immeasurably easier for the Jags because now then they could take an offensive lineman. Aiden Hutchinson or Thibodeau could have gone first. There could be a team wanting to trade up for the other edge rusher who didn't get drafted. So it wasn't the Jaguars' fault, and it just showed that the Dan Campbells are legit, and also showed that Jordan Love got some questions.
Yeah, feels a lot like 2013 when the Chiefs had the number 1 overall pick, and they're like, "Hey, we'd love to get out of this." You know, like we're definitely listening to offers. Everybody's like, "Nah, dude, you can pick between was it Eric Fisher and
Luke Jokel.
Luke Jokel.
In fact, you can take both.
Yeah, knock yourself out. Eric Fisher ended up being a pretty good player for him, but it took a while for it to happen. And the Jaguars are loaded with defensive linemen. They basically are going to be forced into taking another one this year. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, look, the Lions, I mean, that game was expensive as hell. I had a lot of money on Packers first half. Because when we started hearing that Rodgers was going to play and play like fully, I loaded up on Packers first quarter, Packers first half, and I found, which I've very much loaded up on, Packers team total over first half. Guess what the number was?
17.
13.5. Mason Crosby.
Oh, he missed it. Well,
he missed it.
Yeah.
Oh, he missed. He shanked the effing extra point to guarantee a 3-unit win on the team total first half over. It's unbelievable.
I will say this.
Crosby is going to be someone to watch in the postseason.
Oh, hold on. I'm about to call
about
you out, Breach, because I said this every week when he's shanking kicks and shanking extra points. You said, well, there's no one to sign, so you just have to go out there with old Graybeard there and let him kick balls sideways and hope for the best.
Yeah, that's what I said, and you're not going to find.
I stand by that.
Well, you're not going to find anyone better. And also, when I said that, I blamed the fact that Corey Bjorquez obviously got dumped in Buffalo for a reason. I think it's because of his holding. And Mason Crosby didn't just magically start stinking this year. I think that
we talked about it. He struggled a few years ago with the yips.
Yeah, then he fixed it after he's been fine for the last few years.
Celebration. Like I turn around, it's Mason Crosby.
If the kicker struggles everywhere the holder goes, that's a sign.
That's something the kicker says. That's like when a former defensive back says that's not defensive pass interference.
Trying to cut this octogenarian kicker a break for honking field goals and kicks all year long.
He cost Brinson money.
He cost me a lot of money.
And the thing is, Rodgers was dealing like he was looking to throw a lot. Great touchdown pass to Alan Lazard. He made a fancy little catch in the end zone there. They would have 100% called that incomplete. You know, the one where he bobbled.
Yep.
100%. He may have caught it. I'm not sure, but thank God we have to deal with that. But yeah, Jordan Love came in and did not do great. And again, Jared Goff, you know, we talk about the list of guys, the Kirk Cousins, the Matthew Stavers, the Dak Prescott's is what people in the office around here like to throw around. I think Dak Prescott's a little better. Jared Goff.
Jared Goff?
No, Eric Casillas, I'm sure he won't care because he says it all the time. He thinks Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins are the exact, like, no, they're the same. Like, Kirk isn't worse than Dak, even though I'm like, there's no way.
We're not getting down this rabbit hole.
No, my point is that Jared Goff is right there in the same conversation with him. And we were dumping on Jared Goff. He's playing pretty good. He's going to be
He's playing well. Look, the Lions I wouldn't bank on the Lions being able to make anything work because they haven't for like 30 years.
I don't know. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. I think that's
but
Man Campbell.
These guys are playing hard for Dan Campbell. He's not going to win Coach of the Year, but they had nothing on that roster. St. Brown looks like a really good rookie. You're playing Goff in 2022. No questions asked. You're not thinking you maybe draft a guy in the 4th round as a flyer if you have a good grade on him. You can draft somebody in the 2nd round if you have a good grade on him. But you can if you think. I'm just saying Goff is your guy in 2022. You come back, you fight hard, you develop a culture, and then you try and build out and find some nice pieces and drop the guy in there later on. Packers, a little bit disappointing loss, but I like that they played. I like that they played and kept sort of the rhythm going. They should feel fine going into the bye.
Yeah.
Bucks 41, Panthers 17. This game was not 41-17 for a very, very long time, and the Bucks just like Sam Darnold fumbled, then Sam Darnold threw a pick.
Let me ask you. The only question I have about this game is, what does Sam Darnold look like? Because I didn't watch 1 second of it.
He was sort of soft-faced and small-handed.
Did Cam play at all?
No. Oh my God. Did you hear what Matt Rule said?
No.
Whole controversy.
Oh boy. Asked it, I think it was halftime, why he didn't use Cam but this is probably Cam's final game ever.
Well, let me ask Wilson this first.
Okay.
Wilson, if you had 4th and 1 from the Buccaneers 2-yard line.
Cam Newton.
Okay.
Correct.
They did not go Cam Newton.
What do you think Matt Rule said at halftime when asked why he didn't go with Cam Newton?
Wait a second. Do coaches typically talk at halftime? NFL coaches?
Yeah. Wait, what?
I must not be paying attention. Okay.
Are you doing the halftime show stuff?
So what did he say when he was asked where's Cam Newton? Is that what you're asking me?
So somebody asked, it was Tracy Wolfson, because for whatever reason, maybe this is why we got Cowboys 49ers on CBS. We threw Fox a bone and said, give us Bucks Panthers in week 18. And you
I don't even know what the right answer would be. What did Matt Rule say?
He said, let's see, I'm trying to find it. It's our good friend of the show and a great guy.
And while Brinson's looking for that, I'll say real quick, this was actually a pivotal moment in the game because it was the second quarter. And if the Buccaneers score on this 4th and 1 from the 2-yard line, or even get a first down, because it was 4th and 1 from the 2, they go up 14-3. And then
the Panthers, if they score, right?
Yeah, if the Panthers score from the Buccaneers 2-yard line, they go up 14-3 on Tampa Bay, and it's a whole different game. But instead, they fail, and then the Buccaneers scored the next touchdown, not in the ensuing possession, but after that, before halftime, and then it was 10-7, and then it was over.
I'm trying to find his tweet. Basically, he said that Sam Darnold and Cam Newton are the same person.
Look at that.
There we go.
Diva found it, of course. Those are quarterbacks.
I didn't know what friend of the program you were looking for. I had that queued up.
Oh, good.
Shout out Nick.
Yes.
Nick Carboni, WCNC.
Shout out Nick. I don't know Nick.
Well, you got the quote, so.
Yeah, the quote, yeah. Look, the quote was insane.
Both of our quarterbacks can do that.
I mean, one person is built like Julius Peppers, and the other person is built like Will Brinson. Like, who do you want running on 4th and 1 for the 2-yard line against the best rushing defense in football?
Like,
what are we doing here?
Right.
Matt?
Technically, Will Brinson can make a layup and Julius Peppers can make a layup. But at the end of the day, you want Julius Peppers taking the shot. You don't want Will Brinson out there and his loafers trying to make a layup when the game's on the line.
Correct. And Matt Rule also, of note, there was a report from Jay Glazer that Matt Rule is going to maybe get fired if he doesn't hire a quote-unquote rock star offensive coordinator.
Well, here's the thing about Jay Glazer. He bats 1,000. So if he says it and Matt Rule gets wind of it, he better hire a rock star, whatever that definition is for David Tepper.
Well, okay. I don't want to go on a Panthers tangent here, but we won't. But they already tried hiring a rock star OC in Joe Brady.
Do you think
they hired him halfway through his second season?
So maybe they hired the wrong Brady. Get Tom Brady in there.
What if he like actually goes out and hires like Scott Stapp from Creed, like a rock or Mick Jagger? Mick Jagger can be his actual
Jason Ross from 7 Married 3. That would have been
there. You go.
Layup. So this to me says,
has this joke become cumbersome?
Ooh, there it is. This says to me that David Tepper wants a rock star at OC. He got it in Joe Brady.
All it is.
It didn't work out. So now he has to once again placate the boss, which is going to get him fired because he's going to get a guy who may not fit what they're trying to do. But
the Panthers, as I tweeted out, have a David Tepper problem.
Ooh.
He's just Jimmy Haslam 2.0.
He's a rich guy with a lot of time on his hands.
He's a more aggressive Jimmy Haslam. I bet this guy's involved in every decision-making process. We don't get a rock star OC in here. How are we going to win? It's like, well, your offensive line sucks.
And knowing nothing about him,
yeah,
other than what you see, he seems like he probably doesn't have a ton of patience. Like he
has zero patience. He's a lunatic.
He's used to getting his way, and when things don't go his way, he's probably got some thoughts on the matter.
Dolphins 33, Patriots 24. The
Alabama Bowl.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Good win for Brian Flores.
Huge.
Give me one takeaway from this game because it didn't. We didn't think the Bills would lose to the Jets, and so it didn't really matter that the Patriots lost, right?
And we sort of like the Jags and the Colts for some reason. Like the Patriots cannot win
in Miami.
I mean, it matters because they dropped in the playoff seedings. They would have been a 5th seed if they would have won and played the Bengals. Now they're a 6th seed and they have to play the Bills.
It's bad news for the Bengals to not to play the Raiders, who are red hot.
I would rather play the Raiders than the Patriots.
Would you rather play Breach? Would you rather, if you're the Patriots, would you rather play the Bengals or the Bills?
If I am the Patriots, I would rather play the Bengals.
Oh, you got that right.
I'm sorry, what was that? Say it
Wilson,
again?
what?
This is the second time this podcast Breach has had to admit that he would, if you were a team, he'd rather play
What?
the Bengals than the
There's no question. If I'm the Patriots, I want to play the team that hasn't won a playoff game in 30 years and that might melt under pressure.
and the second-year quarterback, yeah.
And not play the team that destroyed me 2 weeks ago. I mean, are you kidding me?
I agree. Just asking.
Yeah, Mac looked like dude.
Hey, just because I'm a homer doesn't have to be a homer on every single question you ask me.
Yeah, Mac looked pretty bad. For
Bengals are winning the Super Bowl, though. Sorry.
Tua looked promising, and I want to see what happens this offseason. Whether talking about owners, whether Stephen Ross can, disentangle himself from the notion of Deshaun Watson, if that's in fact what he was thinking about when there's talks heated up before Deshaun had to, they had to figure out this offseason.
And by the way, this was a 3-point game. The Patriots cut it down. And the Patriots got hosed in officiating. There was I don't know if you guys saw the fake punt the Dolphins ran.
Or the head-to-head.
Yeah, so they run a fake punt, and the punter's like sprinting down the sideline. Who the defender? I think it was Matt Judon, right? Or no, he got flagged later. Who's the defender? It was Brandon Bolden on special teams. Brandon Bolden comes sprinting up to tackle him. I think it was Brandon Bolden. And the punter gives up and slides short of the sticks. And Bolden has lowered his head to make the tackle. And because the punter is sliding, he got defenseless. He got a 15-yard penalty. It wasn't a game the Patriots looked destined to win. Browns 21, Bengals 16. I think with Jamar Chase breaking Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson on the pod. Love Ocho. Jamar Chase probably locked up rookie of the year with Mac Jones playing poorly. What a scoop slam that was in the last 2 weeks for those of us who have Mac Jones tickets. I mean, golly. He broke 1,455 yards now on the season. Chad Johnson, 1,440. Not just most by a rookie, most ever. He had 26 receiving yards, or got 26 receiving yards. And Breach, I'm assuming
most ever in Bengals history, second most ever in NFL history for a rookie.
I'm a little surprised they didn't let him break that record too.
Yeah, that was a little interesting. I think they probably said before the game, "Hey, Jamar, we're going to let you get the franchise record. We'll see where we are after a certain point, and we're pulling you no matter what." Because he was 18 yards short of tying an NFL record. So it does seem like you would let him break that, especially when you're just not, the Bengals are playing for nothing in this game and they knew it. And yeah, I'm surprised they didn't let him get 19 more yards.
Here's my takeaway. Huge loss for the Bengals. You don't want to go in the playoffs with losing a huge game against your division rival.
Did you see the moment where Jamar Chase comes off after breaking Ochocinco's record and CJ Uzama comes up to him? Do you see this, Breach?
Maybe.
And Uzama, like they're sitting there talking, and Uzama starts like digging in his jersey.
Oh, he was a necklace.
And you're like, what is this guy doing? And he pulls out this gigantic, like a platinum chain or something, and he undoes it and he hands it to Chase and he puts it around Chase. It was Chase's chain.
Giving it back to him.
Uzama was or he wasn't playing, so he was just holding the chain for Chase while he went out and broke Ochocinco's record. And at that point, it was like, all right, he's probably not going back out there. Bills 27, Jets 10. I can't believe this is now 2 out of the last 3 games, or did the Bills do it last? It was 2 out of the last 3 games where the Bills had no business covering and still managed to pull it off. They're 16.5 favorites, and they win by 17 thanks to a late touchdown.
It was the same with the Falcons.
With the Dolphins game.
Oh, yeah. The Falcons, they missed covering by a half point.
Yeah, they're like 14.5 favorites, and they won by 15 or something weird like
14.
that. Yeah, whatever it was. The Jets, good effort. Good job, good effort, I guess.
No, he got better. Zach Wilson got better. Robert Saleh, I think he is. They have 2 first-round picks, so they are moving in the right direction, I feel like. More so than their counterparts on the other side of the city, or they share the stadium with on the same side.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'd rather be the Jets than the Giants. I'm not sure Zach Wilson's the guy.
Yeah, he got better. So
the Jets defense played well too. The Jets had a punt blocked. They punt on
it's a 3-point game.
Every possession in the first half except for one ended a punt for the Jets, plus the blocked punt, and they still were only down 10-7 at halftime. So it was like their defense played well enough to keep them in the game, but the offense is just a disaster and a work in progress.
There's no way the Jets were going to overnight be good, and it's probably a 3. You hope that you can flirt with the playoffs in year 3 of Robert Saleh. I think that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, we're taking one more break.
One more break.
Okay. One more regular season break, and when we come back, super wild card weekend early odds show for the first time ever featuring Ryan Wilson. Next. Wilson is thrilled to be joining myself and John Breach. Breach, we dodged a bullet because the odds weren't out at halftime. Nice.
And now we have to talk about how bad the Steelers are going to lose in front of Wilson, so it's kind of awkward.
That's right. There's another game I can't wait to talk about as well.
So the Bengals are getting a little steamed here. We'll start with Las Vegas and Cincinnati. Wilson, you've never done this show somehow. What we do is we throw out the lines. You say if there's something you would bet right now because you think it might move.
Yeah,
it's a total or and I know you listen to the podcast every day when you're not on.
Mm-hmm.
But, Bengals at home hosting the Raiders Saturday 4:30. The first game on the docket. The Bengals are 6.5-point favorites. The total here 49. Breach. Your Cincinnati Bengals are a touchdown favorite in a wild card weekend playoff game. On a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous does that make you?
For the first time ever, like a 3.
15.
3.
I hate
3. What are you talking about?
I'm not nervous. I'm over the nervous. When you've watched 30 years of losing playoff games, there's no nerves anymore. It is just, I hope they win. That's it. There's no nerves. Here's my thought. Okay, you know what is funny is that the Bengals playoff losing streak started in January 1991 against the Raiders. So their first loss in this whole streak 31 years ago was against the Raiders, January 13th, 1991. And the reason I know the date is because it's my birthday. And so this thing is going to come full circle. And here is what I think about this game. This really couldn't be a better situation for the Bengals. They already beat the Raiders once this season, 32-13. That was in Las Vegas. Now they get a Raiders team that played the final game of Week 18, so played late into the night. They have to fly across the country on a short week to play a road game in Ohio where it's supposed to be sleety and snowy and ugly weather. And this really could not be setting up any better for the Bengals and the streak. And I hate picking them to win. I hate picking them to cover the spread because they haven't done it in 31 years, but I think they're going to cover here.
Oh, man. This weather is supposed to be nasty. 37 degrees.
They don't know. It's a week out.
Oh, it's Saturday. I guess it's Sunday right now. The whole Saturday ESPN Monday Night Football crew thing messed me up.
That was funny. Yeah, I mean, it's not that it's a Saturday game. You play Sunday night. They'll be fine. The weather could be an issue. It'll be an issue for both teams. It's not like the Bengals.
Cold weather Derek Carr is not great.
What'd you say?
Cold weather Derek Carr is not great.
How's Joe Burrow in the cold weather? I mean, we don't know.
Awesome.
Pretty good.
Based on what?
The last 2 weeks of the season that you saw him throw for 900 yards in 2 weeks?
In cold weather?
I mean, it wasn't like 75 and sunny.
No, but I mean, it wasn't sleeting and, freezing. My point is that the wins over Wilson line was like plus 3.5. So
wow.
This 6.5 sounds crazy. This team.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I like Vegas to cover. I think the Bengals can win, and I think the Bengals are a good football team. But I don't think I always say so. Derek Carr will make a few mistakes. He'll be sort of on and off early, and then the last 5 minutes he gets red hot. They have Darren Waller back now. He wasn't a difference maker in the game. It was his first game back in a while. But Foster Moreau played well. I mean, no one's ever said that before. This in his NFL career. Brian Edwards played well. Zay Jones is playing well. Max Crosby's getting after it defensively. And look, they weren't great against Justin Herbert. They played a lot of zone, and Justin Herbert dominates zone. I don't know how Joe Burrow is against zone. The defense, they're opportunistic, so I don't think they're going to get their doors blown off. They didn't play well in that first matchup, as Breach noted. But I think this team is different than it was the first time they played.
So if you were betting on this game, you would take the
Raiders plus
Raiders
6.5.
right now.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't see how this game gets over a touchdown. So if you'd like the Raiders, and again, we talked about this all season long with the COVID stuff. There's no break between the regular season and the playoffs. There is a chance that guys are in protocol. Joe Burrow's mentioned that it's not an issue in Cincinnati, which is great because there's nothing to do. But if you're getting 6.5 points in a wild card weekend game against a franchise that hadn't won a playoff game in 30 years, and you're getting almost a touchdown, and if you really were feeling like you were worried about it, you could buy it to a touchdown. High total. I'm going to bet the Bengals, I think, eventually. And I like the Bengals to win and cover this game. I can't believe I'm saying this.
At 6.5?
Well, here's your temperature fun fact, since we were talking about that. Since
Derek, that's what you were doing with your head down. Give me the Derek Carr number.
That is what I was looking.
Let me do a little coach move here. Come on, give it to me.
Since the start of the 2016 season, the Raiders are 3-9 straight up when the kickoff temperature is under 45 degrees, 4-8 against the spread.
There you go.
I mean, Derek Carr's from Fresno and got drafted by the Raiders. Like, he ain't played no.
You noticed that he didn't read the Joe Burrow part of that.
Well, Joe Burrow's only. I mean,
don't make excuses.
All right, I'll bring up the Bengals.
Actually, Debo said keep going, so we'll have to find that out on the next podcast.
I like the Bengals. I would not bet the Bengals now. It should not get above a touchdown. The total in that game 49. The wind is not bad, but there is going to be weather
straight up and against the spread.
What's that?
2-0 straight up and against the spread in under 45 degrees.
My point is that the wind is not bad, but there is going to be probably a bunch of snow. Snovers is a thing. But if you like the under in this game, you should bet it now. By Monday, I bet this is down to 47. Or I guess by today. By Monday night, I bet this is down to 47 because of the weather forecast. It was like 51. If you like the over, wait on it. This total will drop throughout the week because of the weather, and you can bet the over when it gets down to a lower number. That would be my advice there. Patriots at the Bills. The Bills minus 4.5. Look at that total. Disgusting. 43.5. I feel like I guess we're kind of just seeing these AFC spreads. Oh boy.
It's gonna be 20 degrees and snowy in Buffalo.
What kind of wind do we have in Buffalo?
Not 70 miles an hour.
Boo.
It's looking at about 10 miles an hour. And this game, I just feel like the Bills are a better team than the Patriots. And if Mother Nature had not stepped in that first meeting, I think the Bills probably would have won that. I thought Buffalo played their worst game of the season in that Patriots game, and they still only lost by 4. And so then they turn around and handily won that second game, 33-21. I just think the Bills are a better team, and I think they cover here.
Yeah, you have to ask yourself, can you turn the keys over to Mac Jones when you need them to come back? And that has yet to been proven to be the case. They run the ball all the time. And they get down. And I think what happened in that first game, that win bowl game, Bill Belichick was in Sean McDermott's head. He was nervous after beating them up last year. And then this year, the Patriots are back, and then he got his act together, and they whipped up on him down in New England. I think Breach is right. I like the Bills at minus 4.5.
What direction? I don't know how much. I guess this can get down to like 41. That's probably the floor for it in terms of the total. The spread. I mean, how many points are you going to give Bill Belichick in a playoff game?
4.5.
It ain't getting to 6.
Right.
I don't think it's coming back to 3 though.
Yeah,
it probably sort of settles in this range. So what's the implied 30, 39 is the implied total. So I'm trying to figure out how many points is New England scoring?
17. 17 best case scenario.
So
it sounds about right.
So you have to keep the Bills from scoring 3 touchdowns if you want to cover in the best case scenario. Oh boy. I'm such a Patriots honk this year that
Josh Allen is going to run for 2 touchdowns. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
And rookie quarterbacks historically kind of struggle.
Sure.
In the playoffs.
All right, let's get the biggest game.
Derek Carr's made the playoffs before, right?
No,
he did not start. This is his first start.
He broke his leg in his MVP season.
Oh, I'm betting the Bengals. Oh, I love the Bengals this week.
You guys are suckers.
They're going to thrash them. Raiders. Sorry. we're going to the NFC because we're going in chronological order. Eagles at the Buccaneers. This game was 7 an hour ago. What the hell?
I love this. I love the Eagles are covering this 9.
This game is shot. This has shot up. This was 7.5, got bet down to 7, and has jumped up to 9.
Tampa Bay is so banged up. They don't have any they have receiver trouble. They do have receivers. I don't know about the defense's ability to consistently stop the run, and we know that the Eagles knew and improved Nick Sirianni is going to run the ball. So Jalen Hurts presumably will be healthy. Miles Sanders will presumably be healthy. Lane Johnson's coming back. He didn't play last week or week 17, week 18. Sorry, 9 is ridiculous. That's a disrespectful number. I feel like
it's a lot. Jalen Hurts first playoff game. He's playing against a guy Breach. I'm not sure if you've heard. Tom Brady has some experience in the playoffs. There is a revenge factor here. Eagles beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And maybe most importantly, the Eagles have to run to win, and no one is better at stopping the run than the Buccaneers.
They've had lapses though this year, and partly because of the injuries.
All right. Breach, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the thing is that the Buccaneers are kind of beat up right now. I think if they're going to be susceptible to an upset, this is going to be the round. And we have seen, as Wilson just mentioned, there have been lapses. They gave up 150 rushing yards to the Jets, the New York Jets. I agree with Wilson.
Noted Tom Brady killers, New York Jets.
Tom Brady, I don't think he's thinking even an ounce about revenge. He already beat the Eagles in one Super Bowl, so he lost one. Now he's 1-1. He's thinking, and you know what? The Buccaneers struggled in the wild card round last year. They've got enough injuries where you're just slightly concerned about them. So they just feel like a big number for a team that's as beat up as they are. So I think I'll probably lean the Eagles here to cover.
Debo, what is your thought process on this line moving 2 points towards the Buccaneers in the last 2 hours or so?
I think people want to bet Tom Brady. I think it's as simple as that. Tom Brady is a public bet, always has been, always will be. So that doesn't surprise me at all. And I am like Wilson, and I feel strangely confident. That's normally the case, but I think they can make this a competitive game. They really haven't gotten blown out all season. Take away 2 Dallas games, one that doesn't even count yesterday. So I think they keep it close.
What was the final? Oh, the Eagles backdoored that cover at home against the Bucs earlier in the season.
It's 28-22. Yeah.
The crazy. Yeah, Sirianni went for 2, right? And yeah, I mean 9 is a lot in a wild card playoff game, even at home. They're missing so many people. It's so weird that game jumped 2 points since the open. What do you think about a teaser with the Bengals and the Buccaneers?
I never tease the Bengals.
That's you know what? That's good advice, Breach. All right, let's go to the next game. I mean, it's already moved so much. I don't think you bet. I don't think there's anything you can jump on there. Also moving. What's that?
I was going to say heavy Eagles presence in Tampa.
Is there a heavy Eagles presence in Tampa?
All those relocated Northerners.
I
might just drive across the state. I might just drive across on Sunday, get back for the Sunday recap.
How would you not do that?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay. Here's a quick fun fact.
Do you want me to loop you in with my wife's friend Grace, who lives in Tampa now?
Okay.
I've been dying to meet Grace.
She is texting me like every Sunday about the Buccaneers.
Quick fun fact on that Buccaneers spread. Of the past 15 playoff games where teams have been favored by 9 or more, the team that's favored is 11-4 against the spread.
Disrespectful to Debo yet again. Passive aggressive Breach.
I'm on Debo's side. I picked it up.
I love how Breach is like, I'm on your side, and now I'm going to slight you.
I'm just throwing the stats out there for the listeners. It's not
Debo
or against Debo.
Oh boy, let's just get away from the. So I mean, not like the Eagles are like the Panthers, but I mean the Panthers were within 7 points and they just lost 41-17.
Where is it when we do our pick show on Thursday?
It can't get to 10.
9.5.
Yeah, I think it stays at 9.5.
9.75.
Yeah. The under drops because the idea is that if Tampa has the other question was like, where's Mike? Mike Evans got hurt, but then came back in, and then what's Leonard Fournette's status? The fact that this shot up to 9 is wild to me.
All right, look, I'm going to give you my San Francisco pick. Then I'm going to go make a run real quick.
Okay.
49ers going to cover. I'm really nervous about Shanahan versus Mike McCarthy. I'm nervous for Mike McCarthy.
Okay. Go do your business. You can come back for Steelers. Breach. This line opened. Somebody told me, I didn't actually see this, so I'm going a little bit of hearsay here. But 4.5. Cowboys minus 4.5 quickly plummeted down to Cowboys -3. I did see 3.5 1 point. I love the 49ers. I'm a little worried that they are the popular dog in terms of this wild card weekend, because I'm just not sure who else you would get behind other than maybe Belichick or the the dog, the underdog who's going to win outright. Total of 49.5. It does feel like Wilson said, Kyle Shanahan could schematically, if they come out like the Niners and the Rams are sort of similar to me. If they come out cooking and they look good, you know you're in for a good Niners Rams game. Of course, the Rams had one on Sunday and lost the Niners, so I don't know how that works.
Yeah, this is I don't know how to feel about this. This is just, I mean,
I'm loading up on San Francisco for the record.
It is the Niners beat up on. I mean, they won the games they were supposed to. They swept the Rams, but they always beat the Rams. But when they played good teams, they just seemed to struggle. I mean, like we saw them lose to the Packers. We saw them get swept by the Seahawks. We saw them. They have some interesting losses that I don't really trust either of these teams, is where I'm going with this. And so I think because of that, I'll probably lean the 49ers, but I think I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win. So maybe because the point spread's so small, I might end up, if it gets down to 2.5, I'll probably take the Cowboys to win and cover. But I think right now I'll take the 49ers.
Yeah,
I got to think about this game.
We can get to 2.5. The Cowboys are first coming into this weekend. We're first in DVOA against the pass on defense and 18th in DVOA against the run. I think the injury that will decide this game is Trent Williams. If Trent Williams, who didn't play on Sunday against the Rams, is not out there, that creates real matchup problems for what Dan Quinn could do. And by the way, a little bit of a Patriots 49ers Super Bowl, or excuse me, Patriots Falcons Super Bowl rematch. Dan Quinn against Kyle Shanahan.
That's exciting.
Who screwed it up? I will take the 49ers here. I think Kyle Shanahan will do a bunch of stuff to confuse Dan Quinn and those linebackers, and you'll see Deebo Samuel go nuts. I like the Niners in a big way.
Or if there's anyone who knows how to stop Kyle Shanahan's offense, it is Dan Quinn.
In theory,
that is the opposite way to look at it.
All right. Pittsburgh, Kansas City. The Chiefs are -13 against the Steelers with an over-under of 46.5. Oh, by the way, on the 49ers, if that's true that it moved from 4.5 to 3, I think if you like the Niners, you should probably bet it now. I do not think it'll get to 3.5. I would guess that given the games in Dallas and that we typically will see the Cowboys ratchet up your passing if they're losing, that over will creep up. So if you like the over in that, and it also depends on the game script, et cetera. But if you like the over in that game, I would take it now. It's dropped like 1.5 already. I think it could climb back up based on public betting. But Pittsburgh +13 on the road in Arrowhead, over under 46.5. If you're putting one bet down, Wilson, what would you do?
Fun fact real quick. This is the first time in the past 20 years that a team that is not the Patriots is favored by 13 or more points in a playoff game.
Wow. Another passive aggressive comment from Breach.
No, what is that?
Oh! I mean, I don't. This game can't go above 14, right?
Sure it can. What was the score the first time they met?
Oh my God, they beat him by like 1 billion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you take the Chiefs now?
If you'd like the Chiefs, yes. Because it ain't going to go down.
I want to know who Wilson's going to pick. I'm actually interested in Wilson.
His total shot up a point too. I think.
Taking the Chiefs. Are you crazy?
You taking the Chiefs to cover?
Yes.
Wilson, the Steelers have been playing inspired football for the past 2 weeks. Just there's something about that rah for Big Ben they got going on right now.
There's nothing inspired football. Ben fell flat on his face trying to goal line sneak 2 weeks ago.
The Chiefs almost lost to the Broncos. The only reason they won is because Melvin Gordon fumbled a football.
Big Ben threw for 12 yards 2 weeks ago. He threw for 11 yards today. I mean,
They
what
almost
is
lost to Drew Lock.
Oh my God, you are being passive aggressive, Breach. I'm
Right.
definitely taking the Chiefs.
I'm the voice of the Steelers.
Yeah, you're
How
the
did
guy
this
who wants to-
podcast turn into that?
You want the Steelers to lose in humiliating
Right.
fashion.
Let's be
But
real.
you're
Who do you think I would
worried-
rather have advanced, the Steelers or the Chiefs?
Well, that's a
The
good.
Chiefs.
Come on now. It's
You don't
ridiculous.
know. He does. Why? You
No,
don't
he'd
think
rather have the Steelers advance.
will the Steelers play the Bengals?
No, but it would open,
The
open
Chiefs would
things
be out
up.
of the playoffs.
No,
then.
Yeah, that's true.
I love that he's thinking. Well, here's the
He
thing.
knows the Chiefs are going to obliterate the Steelers. He's dreaming of the Chiefs losing to the Steelers.
I will say, if Tyreek Hill is out, dealing with that heel injury, that is a key thing to watch because the Chiefs' offense looked hamstrung when Hill was out, and so that's a big
Travis
loss.
Kelce didn't play in the first matchup, and they won by 4,000 points. I mean, stop it.
Okay,
Your mic went out.
I'm not talking about Travis Kelce. I'm talking about Tyreek Hill.
I mean, what are you doing?
out.
I'm leaning Steelers
You're leading Steelers. You're leading drunk.
to cover, not to win.
I know what you meant.
I probably am staying away from this spread and taking a total. So the question is, if KC does KC jump out to a lead here? And if they do,
Is it over? Yes and yes.
no. I'm just wondering what happens, because I don't think Pittsburgh is necessarily with the Vikings. If you get the Vikings down 14 points,
Kirby's
You're
going to
getting-
sling it.
correct. You're getting a shootout coming, just like the Chargers. You get the Chargers down 14 points, you're getting points. You want to bet a
And
lot
don't forget, by the way, like the Chiefs can't run the ball. They ran all over the Steelers, so they don't even have to throw the ball. They can just lean on the running game and score that way. There were no answers. Latavius Murray ran for 150 yards today. So yeah, I don't know what.
Oh my God.
You have any faith in Mike Tomlin?
I love Mike Tomlin. I don't have any faith in the players who are healthy and the other ones that are injured are huge losses.
Worth monitoring. What time's the game? 4:30.
Sunday night,
It's 8:15. Yeah. Right now it looks like no wind and just kind of okay weather. Just sunny, cold and sunny.
All right, next game.
All right, we're gonna get out of here in another 2 hours, maybe. Monday Night Football.
Monday night, first ever playoff Monday.
I mean, I love football, man, but just put the games in 2 days. All right, yeah, Saturday, Sunday's fine.
Well, the problem is that we're up till 4 a.m. because Debo's such a slave driver with this stuff. He gets mad if we don't do it. I can say that.
I know.
Yes, you can.
That's why it's funny.
Well, Brenton got big bug-eyed because I said slave driver.
I should know where you're going.
All right, go ahead.
The Chargers, the Rams. We can't. LA Super Bowl's dead. Rams minus 4.5 against the Cardinals. This line has moved a touch, shaded towards the Rams. Was -4, over under 50.5. I think this is probably the hardest game to handicap on the entire weekend because if you get good Matthew Stafford, in theory, the Rams could roll. And if you get bad Matthew Stafford, the Cardinals could roll. But Arizona has been wildly uninspiring the last few weeks.
It's 4 different possibilities, right? It's like a little square there. You get good Matthew Stafford versus bad Kyler, good Kyler versus good Matthew Stafford, good Kyler versus bad Matthew Stafford, and you have no idea what's going to happen. It's like
bad
all of them
bad, and it's just like a 12-3 game.
Equal chances for all those things to happen. So I don't know. And the Cardinals are playing on the road where they dominate. They can't win at home.
And also, Matthew Stafford has never won a playoff game in his career.
Ooh, there's passive aggressive breach.
Has Andy Dalton won one?
Oh,
why is that?
How many Joe Burrow won?
If we were talking, if Andy Dalton,
how many Samaje Perine won?
He might
have won one with Washington.
He didn't win a Super Bowl with Washington.
Joke's on you, man. Joke's on you.
I don't really worry about the Matthew Stafford playoff thing quite so much.
You should worry more about him playing well.
Well, I mean, like the Lions games they played in the playoffs, the Lions suck. Anyway, I'm not particularly worried about that. I guess 4.5 is just that's kind of a lot.
And how healthy is he? He was limping all over the field on Sunday.
Sure. Yeah. The Cardinals have not looked the same since DeAndre Hopkins went down.
That's what Brian McFadden was saying today on HQ.
Right.
He's taking the team with the playmakers.
Christian Kirk is not an alpha wide receiver. AJ Green. How many playoff games has AJ Green won?
How many yards did AJ Green have on Sunday, Breach? Did he get his $1 million bonus? He needed 75 yards. He didn't get it.
I wasn't. I don't know. I don't keep track of AJ Green contract incentives, Ryan.
Oh, he did. Oh, he had
You got it?
9 targets, 23 yards.
Oh,
4 catches.
yikes. Okay.
Zach Ertz led them in receiving with 7 catches for 84 yards. Christian Kirk 3 times. I think that this offense might be broken.
I'm going with the Rams.
Yeah,
I don't feel good about it.
I think you bet the Rams now too. This might get up to like 6.5.
You don't want it to get up any higher than that.
It's not going to 6.5.
I don't feel great about this. Either one. Like I just don't know who's going to show up.
Dude, the Seahawks defense.
Sean
sucks.
McVay's going to show up. That's all that matters.
The Seahawks defense sucks. And granted, the Cardinals scored 30, but 7 were a defensive touchdown. They had a ton of field goals. So 9 points on field goals and 7 points on a defensive touchdown. Couldn't run the ball. Kyler was really inefficient passing.
Yeah, but you're asking. I get that side of the equation. The other side is which Rams team is going to show up.
Well, the Rams defense will show up.
Well, they didn't show up when Jimmy G wanted to make a last, and I guess they didn't. I guess what you need to do is have Christian Kirk throw some passes like Deebo Samuel did, and that'll mix things up because that sort of turned that game around for the 49ers.
I think the Cardinals are toast.
Maybe. I just don't know if they might lose by 3 is my point.
I just think you're not going to get Rams -3.
No, that's right.
It's more likely to go the other way.
Yeah, I agree with that too. That's why I'm staying away from it, as the sharps say.
And the other thing about this game too is if you want to, what's the total? The total's 50.5.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. All right.
And it is Kyler Murray's first career playoff game. Quarterbacks tend to struggle.
Good point.
In their first career playoff game.
Something to keep in mind when you watch the Bengals Raiders game.
That's 2 quarterbacks making their first career start together.
Derek Carr went to the playoffs though when he broke his leg as an MVP.
He didn't play.
He was pulling a Wentz out there, standing on the sidelines, pretending to cheer as his team played. Like, this guy's
quickly before we go. What are the teams? C-Rad's leading the charge. I can't remember who has who.
Here is your.
People are thrashing AJ Green in the chat. This is
Ryan Wilson. Your teams. You were the only person with 2 teams out.
Dang it!
You lost the Ravens. You lost the Ravens and Panthers.
Oh, thank you, Devo.
There we go. You have the Packers and Patriots.
Man, come on, Packers, baby.
Packers and wow.
The thing is, though,
what a terrible draft from the number 1 slot.
Is the number 2 Wilson's 2nd round pick is out.
Wilson left the number 1 seed on the AFC on the table.
How about Brinson's 2nd round pick? What are they going to do?
Well, they're going to do more than the Rams or the Ravens or the Panthers.
Chargers are? I don't think so.
That's the Rams, old man.
Oh, dang it.
Brinson lost the Saints. I lost the Chargers. And old C-Rad lost the Colts. So
that Colts is a tough out.
Who do we feel the best about right now?
You dummy.
I mean, C-Rad I think would be Brinson's got the cheat. I don't know.
Well, Bucks and Titans is pretty good.
So the problem is for C-Rad, he's got you can't feel good about the Cardinals particularly.
Yeah, but at least they're in the tournament.
Look, you and C-Rad have the 2-1 seeds. That's pretty huge.
That's huge.
Yeah. I would say that I probably, oh my God, there's no reason the Chargers are in the playoffs. Breach should be feeling great right now.
I should have all 4.
You should have all 4.
Rips off.
Should have taken the Steelers. Dang it. Or the Eagles. Can I make a trade for the Eagles?
Why did I steal the Bengals from Breach? I'd be feeling awesome. Let's do on each side.
Can I trade the Ravens and the Panthers for the Eagles? Is that, you guys be okay with that?
That's slap in the face.
We have a redraft with the teams that actually made it.
We actually should do that. How would you draft them?
Well, no, we have to keep this one. This one's the active
No,
$100 draft.
not a redraft. I'm saying like, I still think the Packers would be the first overall pick.
Yeah, I think the Bills are the number 2 pick.
The Titans would not
I would
last till the
take
third
Chiefs. I
round.
would take the Chiefs second.
And then again, everyone's sleeping on the Titans.
I think it's Chiefs. I think the first 4 picks are Packers 1, and then in some order, Chiefs, Bills, Titans.
Yeah, interestingly enough, no Bucks in those first 4 picks. I think that's right. I wouldn't take the Bucks in the first 4 picks.
The NFC is just harder. Like the top. I mean, if I told you that the Packers, Rams, Bucks, or who's the other top? The Cowboys made it to the Super Bowl. No, but you wouldn't be surprised, right?
No, I can't believe I took the Panthers.
The Panthers is unquestionably the worst pick.
The worst pick by millions of miles.
Panthers.
So at the time, they must have been like an 8th or a 9th seed. I mean, when did we do this? Middle of the season? I mean, they have gone sideways.
End of November, I think.
Golly, so they've had a terrible.
We did it after, I believe, Cam's first game back.
Oh yeah,
they've had a terrible 6 weeks.
And the Panthers have the number 6 overall draft pick in the 2022 draft.
I read the instructions wrong. Holy crap!
They were your 4th pick.
All right, well,
Wilson only has 2 teams left out of 4.
Yeah, but one of them's the Packers. So take that.
That's true. So at least you are guaranteed to have a team in the divisional round, unlike
McCorkle Jones at your own risk.
me and Brinson.
All right. Well, I hope C-Red wins, so we all lose money.
He's guaranteed to have 2 teams in the divisional round.
Go C-Red. No, I said he's guaranteed to have a team in the divisional round.
That's correct.
Unlike you and I.
Yeah, the Titans and the. I mean, remember 2 weeks ago we're like, oh, no one took the Colts. What fools!
Evo was right.
Yep.
Eagles were
just
going to do it.
All right. That'll do it for the podcast, the Week 18 recap. Thank you to everyone who has listened, watched, subscribed, alerted, commented nasty things, insulted us in the comments, tweeted at us for our stupid takes, whatever you did. 18 weeks of the NFL season. Appreciate you guys watching, listening, subscribing, rating, and reviewing. We will be back
next season or tomorrow, one of the two.
Probably tomorrow. Oh,
6
my God.
hours.
Oh my God. We'll be back in 6 hours for a bunch of emergency podcasts.
6
You guys
hours.
are the best. Talk to you guys later. Have a great evening.